I was trying to come up with a clever intro, but I don't have one. So, clever intro not found. Error 404. Welcome back to the RageSelect podcast. This bodes well in the first 5 seconds of a 2-hour podcast that Jeff can't think of anything. So, yeah, that's me, Jeff. I can't think of anything.
I'm Mike.
And can you think of stuff?
Well, the only thing I can think of is because I watched Clerks 3 recently.
Oh, okay.
Which was I'm not even supposed to be here today, but I am supposed to be here today.
That's
so
true.
It doesn't count, I think, is the issue.
You're going to have to carry me this podcast. like physically, you're going to have to put me over your shoulders and carry me to the end of this 2-hour podcast.
Yeah, but you live upstairs, and that takes work.
Yeah. Yeah, it does. I was actually thinking that of all the places that I've lived over the last few years, there's not one of them that hasn't had some kind of stairs involved. It was like a second floor apartment, a third floor apartment, and a house with a condo with an upstairs and a downstairs. And I was thinking to myself the other day, I was like, I bet I'm supposed to be a lot fatter than I am, except for the fact that I keep living in places where I have to do like 5 minutes of Stairmaster over and over and over every single day. So
yeah, I live on a first floor for the first time, and I think that's the issue, is I don't have anything to do that with.
Yeah, you don't have to continually jump up and down, run upstairs and downstairs. Yeah, so that's my life hack. Life hack. Live in a place with stairs. It'll be irritating as fuck, but after a few years, you won't think that much about it. So, it's a weird podcast this week. I thought there was going to be more from TGS, but I'm going to tell you right now that I looked at like what came out of that ID at Xbox thing that we skipped last week, and it wasn't any. It was like kind of bad, or it was just like indie stuff. There's like way more interesting things to talk about than a lot of what came out at TGS.
There's only like a couple
week.
Things that came out of TGS that I found interesting.
Yeah,
one of them involved Capcom.
Our video section's a little longer than it normally is.
Yeah.
So we'll have to see what we can get if we can get to that. But before we get to that, I mentioned last week that I'd watched 2 episodes of Cyberpunk Edgerunners.
Oh yes,
and I watched the other 8 episodes of Cyberpunk Edgerunners, and I'm here to say, Cyberpunk Edgerunners kind of rules, dude. Kind of owns bones. Like,
I thought you were going to go into a rap. You're like, and I'm here to say,
standard white people rap from like the mid '90s.
Exactly.
I can do that. I'm not gonna. I could do it, but I'm not gonna. No, I watched that shit, and like, it was really, really good. It's 10 parts. It's kind of its own self-contained story. Like, you can't studio trigger where you blow up everything at the end. It can't be about blowing up the entire world or the whole universe or anything like that, because like it takes place in the year 2076 and there's a game with all that shit that has to happen 1 year later in Cyberpunk 2077.
That city needs to still be there.
But you know what that means is that it's a much more personal story about this kind of like main character, and he's like, I want to be a cyberpunk when I grow up, and then like some bullshit happens.
So how many drills does he use?
Not many drills. There was a lot of blood. There was incredibly violent.
That sounds right.
Like, it was interesting because it was like,
isn't there like sex in it too?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Like, there's titties and butts and shit everywhere. Like, when this is maybe belies a little bit of like, because this sounds exactly like an anime thing. Like, they don't really go that much into going into cyberspace, or I don't know if they do. I didn't play that much of Cyberpunk 2077, but apparently going into cyberspace in the Edgerunners show requires you to be 1, a lady, 2, naked, and 3, in a bathtub full of ice water, naked, with boobs popping out of the top. So that happens multiple times.
That's neat.
There's also a lot of like lot of blood, a lot of heads exploding. Like, at a certain point, it reminded me of I told you, it reminded me of Perfect Blue, just because there was some kind of like fucked up, like, I don't know, did you end up playing Cyberpunk 2077?
I did for a little bit. I didn't get super far.
Like, the concept of cyber psychosis like really kind of factors into the show.
Oh, okay.
Which is interesting because it's like fucking future madness, basically. Like, you put too many robots in your body and now you're a crazy person. Seems like that would be something you'd want to fix in a world full of people with robots in their body, but
people love doing that, though.
Yeah, there's like, put more robots in here. And everybody's like, you're going to go crazy. And they're like, nah, it's not going to happen to me. I'm not going crazy. You're going crazy.
Everyone deludes themselves to think that doesn't happen. Well, it doesn't work for them, but it might work for us.
That's right. Exactly. But no, Studio Trigger, I told you before, and I'll say it. I said it before. I'll say it again. They really toned down the goofiness. Like, there's no anime goofiness anywhere in there. There's no like person with barely any face and then ... comes out from the side of their head.
Okay.
There's no big teardrops. There's no nanis. Like, none of that stuff.
How is there not a single nani in that?
There might be one or two, but it's not like what you're thinking. It's
but
like,
I feel like there should at least be one. I feel like that's a legally mandated anime thing.
There's no thing where a person explodes and then a little naked version of them spins away into the distance.
That is surprising from Trigger, to be honest.
Yes, it's very violent. It's very serious. It's very well written. Like, dare I say it, Michael? I think Grant could watch this show.
Really?
If he didn't recoil so much in horror every time anime came up in front of him. But what's cool is that they use a lot of the stuff from the show, right? Like, it's weird because they have this world that's already done, so they've got, like a lot of the dialogue is done through like the call system that you have in the game, and so instead of subtitles, it'll just have the little message thing like you have in the game that comes up where it's
that's fun.
People talking. So and there's like the main character's apartment. When they first show it, is just V's apartment, but it's just slightly differently decorated because it's kind of the one big room. And and there's like all the different stuff. Arasaka.
Does it connect to the game at all?
Max Tech. What's that?
Does it connect to the game at all?
Well, the game added some stuff a few weeks back. I don't know if it connects to the main plot. I will say I did not see a single anime Keanu.
That's weird.
I did not
I feel like that's something they would have shown in some point.
I did not hear anybody talk about Johnny Silverhandu or anything like that. Like, there was none of that. I didn't even hear like a Johnny Silverhand single, or I didn't even hear somebody be like, oh man, after this we're gonna go see Johnny Silverhand, it's gonna be fucking great. Like, I didn't hear any of that.
That's so weird considering how important he apparently is to that world.
Yeah. The main thing that you get is like, if you play a corpo in Cyberpunk, you're like all hooked up with Arasaka. They're part of the main plot, and Arasaka and Militech and like some of the other organizations obviously factor way in because that's kind of what you do in a Cyberpunk is the megacorp doing stuff. But it was really good, super breezy, 10 episodes. And I'll give you one last reason to watch it if you haven't already. It is self-contained to a point that if they didn't make anything else, I would not feel bad about it. If you it was that and it was done, it would be like there were no dangling threads that we needed to revisit. This was a complete story with a beginning, a middle, an end, and I dug it. So
that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's always the tricky thing with adaptation type things. Is sometimes you're like, well, what if we made a sequel to it? And it's like, well, and then they get canceled and nothing ever happens for it.
Right. Or else, like, here, this is on Netflix. The season 2 will take 4 years to make it. It'll be 3 episodes, and then in 8 months we'll put out another 2 episodes.
That's if you're lucky.
I realize that there's going to be a third part of Stone Ocean next year. So the first part came out last year, and then the second part came out this year, and the third part will come out next year. And it's just like, you guys just wait until it's fucking done already? Ugh. Anyway, everybody should go watch that show. It rules. Even if you don't like Cyberpunk 2077, it had a lot of really good characters, and because the show couldn't rely on you making your own stories by doing stuff, they had to like tell a story, and I was like, ooh, a story, this is what I've been missing. I love this shit. This is great. Like, it almost got me to play the game. It was very close to get me to play the game, but I was like, no, I'm gonna wait for them to finish the game before I play it.
That's fair. No, that's completely fair.
What about you, Michael? You mentioned Clerks 3. You want to talk about that a little bit, or do you get something else on your mind?
No, I'll talk about that because I didn't talk to you about that even off mic. So I watched Clerks 3 on Friday. Before I did all my cleaning stuff.
Okay.
So that's the only real thing I did over the weekend. So I went to go watch it and I loved it.
Okay.
It's the beginning is a little rough at times.
Okay.
But once it gets to the actual emotional parts of it, that movie just gets going from then on. Mm-hmm. And that movie it's great. It's just like I ended up crying by the time it was done from how it ends up playing out. to the point where I almost had an existential crisis.
Yeah,
happening from fucking Clerks of all things.
I had a bit of an existential crisis with Clerks 2, where I decided, like, after watching Clerks 2, I made this huge effort in my like early 30s to be like, I need to keep in touch with my friends and make sure they're in my life. And then I started working for Hollywood.com, and I found a bunch of people that I liked a lot more than my old friends. So,
well, three has a very similar sort of situation going on with it, because if nobody knows the main plot of it, basically Randall and Dante are reaching their 50s. Randall has a heart attack, and then he realizes, he's like, well, I feel like I haven't done anything with my life.
Yeah.
He's like, sure, I made this business with you with the Quick Stop, but the video store closed 10 years ago.
Sure,
like,
I run a convenience store.
He's like, that's kind of all I've done, kind of thing. He's like, and I don't want that to be my legacy. So he's like, I'm gonna make a movie.
Yeah.
About my life, and
Oh yeah, I forgot it gets like super meta,
and by
right?
extension, I guess your life ? Dante, and he's just like, I guess, and so he ends up basically a lot of the movie is him making Clerks,
right?
Clerks 1, and he to the point where Kevin Smith was able to get a hold of the people who were in Clerks 1, so they a lot of them show up with their own kids, kind of thing.
Okay.
Like at one point, like there's one guy he's filming. I forgot the scene, but he's filming it and he gets mad at him. He's like, "Don't you yell at my dad!" So it's just really funny to watch how meta the movie gets because of it.
Okay.
Like even the point where they're like, "Well, we need to figure out how to film this thing. We need a DP," and they're like, "What about Silent Bob?" And he's like, "Yeah, I want to film the whole thing in black and white." They're like, "That's stupid." And then they filmed the whole thing in black and white. And then and also the idea of them putting like themselves in the movie, and it's just so much fun. But it gets so emotional in the third act that like it's just fucking crazy.
Okay.
How like amazing, like to the point where even Martin Thomas of Spill and Double Toasted, even he really likes what happens with it.
Okay.
I loved it. I wouldn't mind seeing it again soon. I thought it was a great ending because it is the ending of this little trilogy.
Yeah.
And I think it was a great way of going out.
Okay, well, I'll have to definitely put it on my list, because the last time that they tried to get meta with the Jay and Silent Bob, I did not like that movie.
Yeah, so that's the
I
thing.
know you liked it a lot more than I did, but I did not care for it.
Well, I liked Jay and Bob Reboot a lot because it was making fun of the fact that Force Awakens was doing what it was like they just remade that movie.
Sure.
So they're like, well, we're just gonna remake Jay and Silent Bob Strikes Back.
Yeah, I didn't care for it. Care for it.
Like, and the thing is, I think Clerks 3 works better because it does more of what worked better in Jay and Bob, which was the emotional stuff.
Yeah.
Because Jay and Bob Reboot was more about Jay finding out he has a daughter,
right,
and trying to figure out what to do with that situation. And so I feel like that was the emotional core of it, and that worked. Where Clerks 3 is more like, we're going to do more of the emotional core parts.
Yeah.
There's still going to be some weird Kevin Smithy stuff going on, and a lot of it tends to happen in the beginning. But once he has the heart attack, the movie starts being like, oh, let's be a little more serious about some of this stuff.
All right.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Well, speaking of serious ass heart attacks, I'm sure that somebody at Rockstar was having one last week, because all of the news that I was going to scrape off the bottom of the barrel for TGS is going by the wayside. Let's talk about Grand Theft Auto 6, baby.
Let's talk about this weird fucking thing that's happened to the internet.
Very, very, very strange. So, yeah, last week, a user on the GTA forums posted 90 videos from a test build of Grand Theft Auto 6, along with like screenshots and some other stuff. And the internet, okay, here's the weird thing, Michael. I personally think that this is kind of pedestrian. Like, I was more interested. We knew from the leak, from the Schreier report, like a couple months back, that it was like Grand Theft Auto 6. It's under development. It's going to have 2 main characters. It's going to be in Vice City. It's going to have a little bit less of the super irreverent humor that the previous ones had, or the kind of like edgy boy humor. It's going to be a little bit more toned down than that, but it's still going to kind of do stuff. And it was like, okay, cool. This is just 50 minutes of like wireframes. And I mean, the thing is that it's really weird because there's no, I mean, it says a lot about game development, because
absolutely, it's all development stuff.
Yeah, like most of it has a console open, half of it has like lots of text over the screen showing just kind of like animations of NPCs shooting at the characters or doing stuff. There's kind of one sequence that they have of the two main characters like robbing like a Waffle House.
Yeah, that's the most interesting thing in the entire thing.
Yeah.
For the most part.
But for the most part, I found it to be like, yeah, I mean, this is a game in development. It looks like Grand Theft Auto. It looks like, honestly, like they used a lot of assets from like GTA Online or stuff like that as placeholders when there are assets, which a lot of times there just aren't. We do see the two main characters. I mean, I'll say like, Mix-a-Lot's going to be happy if this is the final model for the lady main character. She got a big butt. She got a big old booty.
She's got some junk in the trunk.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, the thing is that I don't even feel like a lot of this is super far in development. Like, I was reading some stuff into it. Some of these videos were just videos attached to bug reports.
Right.
So some of it's just like, hey, this is me replicating a bug inside of what we have currently. And some of the stuff is probably pretty old. Yeah. At least for the video stuff. I think the higher things that were the issue were some of the coding itself.
And then the other part of it is that it's not like we can make any kind of evaluation about whether the graphics, the animation, the environment, like the environment just looks like Grand Theft Auto 5, but Miami. The characters look a lot like Grand Theft Auto Online, and that's not like I don't want to. Please, nobody think that I'm like, oh, the graphics suck in this leaked tech demo bullshit that I'm looking at.
Well, it's an early fucking thing. Like,
yes.
One of the things is like, it's like a training room from fucking Street Fighter, like where there's just lines and shit. Yeah. Because this is what it is. It's a build. Like this is super early on. So people were making fun of this one guy who I'm sure we'll get to that guy eventually.
Hold on, we'll get to that guy. We'll get to that guy. I guess what I'm saying is that I watched a big chunk of this and it was like, this doesn't tell me anything.
It just tells me this is a Grand Theft Auto game.
Yeah. Like it looks like a Grand Theft Auto game. Like the way that the characters move. Like nothing in here is screaming like, oh my God, this is the next generation of video games. Like
there's nothing even that screams, oh my God, they can do X, Y, and Z differently than fucking anybody from any of the other Grand Theft Autos.
Right. Like there seemed to be some mechanics with them holding up that waffle joint where it was like
he doesn't do a backflip or something. Like all of a sudden.
I mean, you know,
they move like a Grand Theft Auto character.
Yeah, it looks like that Saints Row game that came out. Yeah. Like it looks like Grand Theft Auto. Like it's pretty high fidelity or it's pretty realistic looking as far as the combat and the characters and the environments and stuff like that go. And I don't feel like there's anything in here that's just like, oh my God, we can now make these assumptions about Grand Theft Auto by looking at this. It's like, well, it looks like you've got two different protagonists, like this lady with the big booty and this kind of scummy white guy with a muscle shirt and cargo shorts on, and they're rolling around doing crimes in Miami. Oh my God, stop the fucking presses. Yeah. Yet the internet seemed to lose its collective fucking mind about this. I thought that was the last one that we had was the Bandai Namco leak where it was like
that was a huge leak.
Yeah, the Dragon Ball and the DLC for Elden Ring and all that, like, or the Capcom leak for a few years back where it was talking about that stuff. The other thing I think is that, like, Michael, I want to, okay, let me make sure that we have a little bit of time. Okay, I want to make sure to talk about this. Do you care about Grand Theft Auto anymore? I don't really care about Grand Theft Auto anymore because it used to be that Grand Theft Auto was like, you know, the pinnacle of third-person action open world games, but like I'm past that being like enough, and I'm into like I want more different concepts for games. I don't just want another Grand Theft Auto that happens to take place in Florida. And that would be the only thing that I would say is that I'm not seeing anything here that indicates this is anything other than a third-person game where you shoot and you do crime and you drive a car and it's in Miami.
I wouldn't mind another more story. That's really what it comes down to. I've always been a big fan of Rockstar stories for the most part. Yeah. Even when the gameplay itself can be meandering, their stories usually still get me through it. Sure. And so I'm more excited to see whatever the writing comes up with more than what the gameplay comes up with. Because it could literally just be Grand Theft Auto 5, but with more story, and I would play that part of it.
And I would be fine with that. I guess I wouldn't be like psychotically losing my mind in anticipation.
I'm not losing my shit because I know Rockstar hasn't really done super huge jumps with Grand Theft Auto's designs in a long time. Yeah. Because four, I felt like once they hit 4, they kind of just worked on that from then on.
Yeah.
They just added more
like
stuff
5
to
was
it.
a really, really good iteration on what they started with 4.
Like they added some of the wackier physics back, because 4 was a lot more realistic when it came to your physics, but that's kind of all they did.
They had to switch between characters.
Switch between characters, which is fun, I guess.
Fine.
And they had abilities that I rarely ever used, to be honest.
I used them. I mean, I thought the abilities were actually is good that you reminded me, because I was like, oh, Franklin's ability to basically like turn 90 degrees like fucking Automan, like by turning his shit on, you could just like really corner, like always made it so I was like, well, we're driving, Franklin's doing it.
Yeah, well, that was the only real thing I used when it came to the abilities. Because Michael's ability was a Max Payne-ish type thing that really didn't work as well as you wished it would, kind of thing.
Yeah, and then Trevor was just kind of like rage, this weird rage thing.
Which was kind of fun, but not really all that interesting, because Trevor was a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
And so it's just like Grand Theft Auto, and then Grand Theft Auto Online tired me out on the idea of Grand Theft Auto, because it was just obvious they didn't care about the stuff I cared about from then on. And so that was the reason I stopped caring, because we realized they didn't make a new Grand Theft Auto for like a decade.
Right.
So it's like, why should I care about a new Grand Theft Auto that much more?
The last generation of consoles did not have a Grand Theft Auto game. It had a port of a PS3 game.
Which is fucking crazy.
Yeah. We went through that entire console generation with just remaster or re-release of Grand Theft Auto 5 and Grand Theft Auto Online. So, yeah.
And then they re-released it again.
Yep, and now it's going to be on the... Actually, it already is, I believe, on the next-gen systems.
Yeah, I think it just came out
very soon.
Month or something like that.
So, yeah, I don't... Like, that's the kind of thing that when I finally looked into this footage, like, I downloaded one of the un-DMCA mirrors of the video and was, like... Started looking through it, and I was like, well, yeah, this is fine, but this just looks like a development... Like a reel of development from from a pretty stock standard online game, or not online, pretty stock standard single player like adventure game, and that's fine. It's just like, I guess I just don't understand where the hype is, where the psychotic hype was coming from, of just like, oh my god, you know.
I think the main thing comes down to its coding. The fact that it's the coding that was taken more than the videos. At least in my opinion, the issue is that people looked at it and made some of the dumbest assumptions I've ever seen in my life.
True. We'll get to that in a minute.
Yeah, we'll get to that later. But
yep, that all happened. Let's see. From there, Take-Two started copyright striking this stuff, which, like, I mean, good luck with that. You know, it's out there. It's on the internet. You could try that shit, but all it does is kind of actually, I believe that there was a certain point where Rockstar, I think that one of these articles mentioned that Rockstar was actually liking tweets that was showing some of the leaked footage, and then suddenly all that stopped and they started striking down videos, which
that's probably a good way of keeping an eye on which ones they need to strike, though, to be honest.
Oh yeah,
because you just check on your liked list and then just boom, 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 boom.
Yep. We also got a full-on statement from Rockstar, which don't think I'm not. I got shit for everybody in this story, not just like
it's true.
Rockstar. Rockstar said, we recently suffered a network intrusion in which an unauthorized third party legally accessed and downloaded confidential information, including early development footage from the next Grand Theft Auto. At the time, we do not anticipate any disruption to our live game services nor any long-term effect on the development of our ongoing projects. We're extremely disappointed to have any details of our next game shared with you all in this way. Our work on the next Grand Theft Auto will continue as planned, and we remain as committed as ever to delivering an experience to you, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Basically saying, like, this isn't going to like slow down or mess up development at all,
which I hope is true.
Yeah, in a way though, this isn't fair, Michael. But I'm gonna throw just like, I don't know. I'm just gonna like cut off a little bit of my dissatisfaction about the story and throw it Rockstar's way, because like, bitch, you've had a long fucking time to show us anything from this. Like, do not be surprised if people are fucking, you know, taking off their clothes and getting an ice water bath to fucking net run the code out of your fucking shit. Like, you could have shown us something. Like, it's been a long fucking time.
Yeah, but
waiting for Grand Theft Auto.
I feel like they just still don't have anything to show that is finished.
True.
It's the Cyberpunk, issue, the Cyberpunk thing, where they're just like, "Why didn't you show us anything?" It's like, well, because we announced it way too ahead.
Yeah,
kind of thing. Although, but
I don't think they've even announced it. It's just leaked, right?
No, they've never. No, they've announced it once. I think they just said, "Hey, we're making one," and then that was all they gave.
Yeah,
I think even then I can't remember if that was a leak or not.
It's kind of like, you know what? Like if somebody got into Steam's backend and found anything concept art that was labeled Half-Life 3, you'd hear about it.
Oh, 100%.
Because like you've dangled the juicy steak over the gamers for so long that they're just like crazy. So
yeah, absolutely.
Not a lot. I would be like, you know, I don't want to victim blame Rockstar or anything, but by the same token, like Rockstar's been taking their fucking sweet time, and gamers are crazy. Like they're
absolutely
completely nuts. So.
I think for some people, it's just they were excited to find out 6 really is in development.
Yep. Another thing that came up recently was that apparently the Rockstar has been talking with the feds. FBI might be doing an investigation into the people what took this. All I have to say to that is yes. Like,
yeah, no.
If like I think people might get the wrong impression and think like, lol, fucking I'm doing this thing. I got this stuff put on the internet, but like it's also like a crime.
Well, that's the thing is there's data mining a game and then leaking that information, and then there's stealing literal information from company servers.
Yeah, yeah.
Because apparently this person says they claim to have hacked Uber at some point.
Yes, that's
so
true.
That's probably doubly made it more possible for the feds to go after whoever they were.
I do think this is talking about another hacker from the same group that I believe is affiliated with the group that did this. It's not sure whether this is actually the right person, but there's an interview with this one guy's father, and he's like, I never heard about any of this until recently. He's never talked about any hacking, but he is very good on computers and spends a lot of time on the computer. I always thought he was playing games, and I love this so much. We're going to try to stop him from going on computers.
No, yeah. You should at this point, you should stop him.
You can't stop him. I've seen Edgerunners. He's going to get out there. He's going to fucking get on computers, man. He's going to go to the library, and he's going to hack the planet. It's got that one guy from Short Circuit on a skateboard, fucking handing viruses and shit.
He's going to go on an internet cafe.
Yep.
Right next to Trump.
Yep.
That only makes sense if you watch that video we did. Was that a Patreon video?
Internet Cafe Simulator?
Yeah.
Yes, I believe that was.
Find that on you'll understand what we're talking about.
Yes. Yeah. There was another part of this, which was that I didn't look all super deep into this because there was a lot of news this week, but I believe there's also the person that did the hack is offering to sell Grand Theft Auto 5 source code as well as docs for Grand Theft Auto 6.
Yes, that's one of the main reasons people are losing their shit. Because if you get the source code, then it's game over for a lot of situations, apparently.
Very true.
So, yes.
So, yeah. In fact, they said that they put it up on one of those like anonymous like Telegram or one of those apps where you can do anonymous like WhatsApp or whatever. And they were like, they came back and I think they tweeted, they said like, we've received like so many fucking messages that like, if you are Rockstar, you are trying to contact us, please put this code before your message because we can't find your message in the like thousands of people.
That's pretty funny.
That are trying to
But now
buy
everybody
stuff.
has the code, so
yeah,
kind of makes it worse.
Yeah. I read
Hi
that.
there, I'm Rockstar. I need your help. Send me Apple Card gift cards.
Yes. As you mentioned, there have been some real bad takes about this.
The stupidest take I've ever seen in my life.
There was one. I looked this guy up, and his Twitter is set to protected mode,
as it should be,
as it probably should be at this point. Who tweeted, "If you knew how game development goes," I need to do this in a shittier voice. If you knew how game development goes, you'd know that visuals are one of the first things done. This game is 4 years into planning and development. What you see is almost exactly what you will get. The next year is mission coding and debugging, all backend stuff. It does look like ass.
Did you see the second part to it?
No, I don't.
The second part is like, you should trust me because I went to school for this.
Oh, Jesus!
It was my favorite part of the whole thing.
Jesus. So yeah, that ended up with a bunch of game developers like showing early footage of their games. Like there's one from Control where they said, since the graphics are the first thing, they all kind of repeat the tweet.
You're all making fun of him, basically.
Since graphics are the first thing finished in a video game and Control won multiple awards for excellence in graphics, here is footage from the beginning of the development. And then it's renamed early production footage, parentheses, finished graphics. And it's just like some real wireframes, early Jesse. Things are all weird and messed up.
Yeah.
Like,
and there's like, oh my God. Because everyone, it's just so funny.
Yeah. We got that. There was one from the Horizon folks where they showed one of the early Thunder Jaws.
Yeah, because it's just like a giant Lego piece.
Yep.
And a guy with a machine gun shooting it.
The guy that made Frozen Synapse, which is like a tactics top-down game, it shows his was just a bunch of blocks with lines drawn between them.
There's a lot of great tweets about it.
Cult of the Lamb.
Some of my favorite tweets are just like it's the secret's out, guys. All we do is just sit around doing nothing after finishing all the graphics.
Yep. Oh, I liked this one from Sam Barlow. Who made Immortality?
Oh yeah,
who showed like it was like a bunch of geometric shapes, and then at the bottom it says Marissa Marcel, insert generic bark here, and then they go. For anybody who doesn't know, Immortality is a full motion video game, so there was no CG, there was no early CG for it. It's literally
just all like,
video.
Yeah, it's all just placement stuff, the ideas that he had.
Yeah. Power Wash Sim, Uncharted, lots of these. They were all very good.
Yeah, so they made fun of the guy super hard, as he should be made fun of. It was the stupidest fucking take I've ever seen about video game development in a long time.
It was
I've seen some pretty stupid ones.
Yeah, it was a bad motherfucking take. Like, it was really stupid.
So stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's a lot of people on the internet claiming they're like, the game looks bad because it's an early fucking development thing. And then this dumbass comes in like a freight train with the worst possible take.
Yep.
Taking all eyes on him, and it was just the greatest thing ever.
Yep. Anybody who's ever done... I
hope no one hires him or somebody hires him just to be like, finish the graphics.
Anybody who's ever done art will know that, the process like iterates. Like
100%.
People don't like sit down with a piece of paper and then draw the finished product. Like, you start usually by sketching, and then a lot of times you can watch any art streaming. You'll see people rough out the general shapes and then start to add detail. And it's the same fucking... You want to make sure that the guy in your game can run properly before you model the fucking like wrinkles in his pants.
Yeah. It's not like that episode of SpongeBob where he draws that perfect figure and then it goes in reverse and has a perfect circle. No, he has to make the circle first before he gets to the fucking Venus de Milo or whatever the fuck it was.
I don't watch SpongeBob, so I don't know that. But I will tell you that back in the early days of OneSpill.com, when I used to work there, when I was an animator before I started doing this happy horse shit, I used to get Corey used to send me basically like really rough layouts of the scenes that I was going to animate, where he just drew stick figures and kind of like what they call keyframes, right? Yeah. Like in poses where it's going to go from here, then he's going to be here, then he's going to do this. And they were very, very, very rough. They didn't have faces. They had just crosses on circles and blocks for bodies and stuff. And it would be like if somebody leaked that and people would be like, yeah, that's what this animation is going to look like, because obviously you do the graphics first. Yeah. And it's like, no, this is stupid. This is a stupid thing.
That's not how any of this works, guys.
Stupid.
It's just the dumbest thing ever.
Stupid.
If games were made like that, they would never work.
Yeah. So yeah, that's I don't know. Do we have anything else to say about Grand Theft Auto 6?
It'll exist, and I'm sure it'll happen. It'll sell, and it'll have GTA Online for 20 years.
Yep.
And then maybe they'll make GTA 7 when I'm like 100. And that'll be it.
I mean, I guess it's just the thing is that it's like the internet. Every so often, the internet loses its mind, and then you go and look at what they're losing their mind over, and you're like, but why? Like,
it's a lot of bad takes, to be honest.
But why?
It's mostly a bad take, people freaking out.
Yeah.
I think the people I listened to the most that were freaking out involved the coding. And that made perfect sense to freak out over.
Okay.
So
okay.
Because once you get the GTA 5 source code, you could hack that thing for days and days, and you'd be completely fucked.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that wasn't the only leak that came out last week. We also got 50 minutes of Diablo 4 leaked. This appeared to be from a friends and family build of the game, and also appeared to have been captured. Like the person was playing while they were like on Discord, because you can hear like the Discord noises in the back. And
okay.
they had to like bloop out, like the sound is all fucked up because they had to like pitch shift out so they couldn't identify the people that were on the call as well. Whole thing also has a watermark over it that says private test build with a direct identifying number. So whoever did this is like,
it's pretty fucked.
yeah, it's probably well done. Well,
or somebody took it from their computer. I don't know.
the thing that I've heard a lot of times happened like during the pandemic was it's like, okay, I went to go work from home. I'm a senior coder for this thing, but like my kid is here and he's like, oh, can I see what you're working on? And I'm like, yeah, here, take it for a spin or whatever. And then in the middle of the night, he sneaks out and fucking, knows your password, unlocks your thing, plays the game, captures a bunch of it, puts that shit on the internet for clout. And
well, that was the idea of why the that Spider-Man No Way Home trailer first leaked.
Yeah.
And why it was on a cell phone.
Oh, yeah.
Because the guy just logged in and just hovered over it.
Yeah, I watched a little bit of this. I mean, the thing is that this is a little bit more, who knows how long ago this was captured, because there are some places in the game where you see like, what's the wall with that's gray with like the checkerboard on it, basically.
And it runs a little slowly.
Yeah, it's a little chuggy. And who knows whether that is, it's also very blurry, which it's harder to find this footage. The only YouTube video I could find was somebody who had upscaled it to 4K, and then the YouTube downloader that I used downscaled it back to 1080p. So it's like the original leaked footage then got recoded a second time. So who the fuck knows?
This just comes out not that long from now.
Yeah, this one is a little different. Well, I was going to say, yeah, it does come out in not too long, but then also who knows, this could be a build from 8 months ago. So
yeah, exactly.
It looks a little, the thing about it is that because it's an open world game, it's a little bit more sparse. Now, who knows whether that's been like fixed.
True.
But one of the things that I associate with Diablo is kind of real dense amounts of action. You get action and then you run into another group of mobs and you run into another group of mobs. So you run into another group of mobs. And there's a lot more like walking around buffs kind of traversal stuff going on here. I don't know if that's going to work, but then I also don't really... Diablo is one of those, so many of like the greatest franchises of the last 20 years have fallen out of favor. I just don't give a shit anymore, where it's like, hey man, if Diablo 4 is great, that's great, but I'm not going to like get a boner every time I fucking hear about Diablo. Like, it's Diablo. You know how many good Diablo games there are now? Like, it's not just Diablo. There's Path of Exile and fucking, what's that other one? The Torchlight, and like, it's all kinds of crazy Diablo games out there. So
yeah, that's the thing, is it's no longer the new guy.
Yeah.
It's like, it's the same with Halo. Like, as much as I like Halo Infinite, it's no longer the new guy in town.
Yeah.
Even Call of Duty 4, when that came in, Call of Duty isn't the new guy either. So it's like, come on, guys.
Yeah. I didn't even bother downloading Modern Warfare 2 beta this weekend and make a whole thing out of that. Or last weekend, yeah, as of this recording. I think the PlayStation had their open beta last weekend.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
But yeah, I mean, the other thing that's a little weird about this is that I'm wondering, like, now that this is an open world-ish game, to me, it seems to have lost some of its diablosity. Like,
I could see that if this is the finished footage.
Yeah.
But like you said, we don't really know if this is the full finished one.
Yeah.
Because for all we know, there's like NPCs and stuff that they're supposed to be in the area, or textures that are missing, or
that's true,
items kind of thing.
I could definitely say that they've super turned down the saturation from 3. Like, it's a lot more grungy looking than 3 was, which for some people will be a great thing. Not exactly. I didn't have a problem with the way 3 looked. I thought 3 looked fine personally, but
people just had a hard time seeing, if I remember correctly.
So, yeah, I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Let's see.
This is an interesting one.
In a shocking reversal, so far we've had people hacking companies. Now we have an allegation of a company hacking people. Well, sort of. Scumbags. Scumbags.
Either way, yeah. So,
Destiny.
Either way, this Uno game got out of hand.
Yes. Bungie has been bringing lawsuits against this company called Junkies that makes like fucking aimbots and cheat tools for a variety of different things.
Yeah.
Again, we talk about this from time to time. I still don't fucking know how it works that they're able to be like, you have to pay for this, and that somebody could be like, you can't reverse engineer somebody's thing, build intrusion mechanisms toward it, and then just fucking accept money for it. Like, you can do all the rest of that shit, but like, can't you just be sued for like, you can't build tools that plug into Destiny? Like, that's not allowed.
Yeah, that's kind of against their terms and service.
Anyway, Aim Junkies has launched a countersuit against Bungie, saying that Bungie must have downloaded personal information off of the personal computer of James May, who was one of the cheat developers. The reasoning for this seems to be that in some of the files, like the file locations that they're showing, the file locations are literally like the directory on this guy's computer where the files are stolen.
Yeah, their Bungie was just like, you've stolen our stuff. No, you. And then,
right.
And now everybody's confused.
But this is the one that really takes the cake, Michael.
Oh, this is my favorite part of this.
They also claim that an agent from Bungie purchased their cheat software and reverse engineered it, violating their terms of service. What the fuck?
That's my favorite part.
What the fuck?
They're trying to use their own terms of service to try to battle Bungie's terms and service.
You're a fucking cheat maker. I guess maybe there's just like, I have so little regard for these motherfuckers, but I guess there's probably not a law that says that you can't make a cheat. Like, there's not an anti-cheat law, right, that says,
yeah, I guess that's true.
if you make a cheat for a video game, you go to jail, right? Cheating is not allowed, and if you break the law, we're going to book you on Section 44 of the Anti-Cheater Act. Like I guess here's the thing: like, if you made a spring-loaded sleeve thing that would put a card in your hand, and it was specifically designed to put Uno cards in your hand. It's not like Hasbro could sue you for enabling cheating in games of Uno. I mean, that's a little
No, I get
the
it,
metaphor
yeah.
is a little outside there. But like, again, I guess cheating is not against the law, right?
No, well, not in this case. It's not.
So, but still, the idea that like, you violated our terms of service after we violated your terms of service.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to see how it goes. I wish these guys the very worst.
I kind of want to see how this plays out.
As somebody who has had to work in the past sometimes to sanitize files, I can say that there are probably quite a few other ways where file information that had residue of directory information could have gotten into this situation.
Oh, easily. That stuff sort of just randomly will appear on files when you least expect it.
Right. So, I don't know. We'll see. I tell you what, though.
Oh, I love this story.
we also had another. So we've had hacks, we've had leaks, and now we've got more leaks.
I saw this one play out in real time.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I was fucking around on Twitter and saw this slowly happen.
So there was a Twitter account that was called The Real Insider that was a real leaky Twitter account that would put out information about games ahead of time. The big thing is like they were one of the ones that leaked the information 2 weeks ago or last week? 2 weeks ago about what was going to be at the Ubisoft Forward that had all the Assassin's Creed stuff in it. I don't know. Speaking of third-party hacks, I don't know how there isn't like a tool. You and me, nobody steal. That's how it works for copyright. The
Terms and service.
I'm classifying the files. You and I need to make a product that's like a specific plugin that works with the Twitter API that like makes you go through 3 verification steps to switch accounts in Twitter, because what happened here was that the Real Insider got caught because the guy that ran it was tweeting on Maine like with the insider information.
He replied to somebody tweeting on Maine.
Yep. And this is Dan Allen of the YouTube channel Dan Allen Gaming, which I'm sure is way more popular than RageSelect.
Oh, most likely, yeah.
Well, what's interesting to me about this was so what happened here was there are leaks. Usually leaks are like insider information that is either acquired via hacks or that is acquired via like, LinkedIn postings or like somebody will
There's
hear
a lot of research done into them.
stuff. This was basically, this guy was a gaming YouTuber, and then gaming companies would send him information that had an NDA attached, and then he would just go to his alt account and break the NDA on his alt Twitter account, and then go back and be like, wow, that insider gaming knows a lot about stuff.
He's super fancy. He must have a great source. Turns out his source was just the people who trusted him.
Yep.
And it was a terrible idea.
Yep. And then there was this really weird, contrition about just like, man, I was like addicted to the fucking high of tweeting out breaking NDAs, and I'm like, were you really? Like,
He's just an idiot.
It's just
is what it comes down to.
Yeah.
He thought it was a smart idea.
Yep.
He kept going, and he's sad that he got caught.
I'm ashamed and disappointed in myself. I'll be taking some time to reflect on my poor decisions, which will never occur again. To everyone that supported me over the years, I'm truly sorry I let you down. I feel like if I did this and I got caught doing this, I'd just be like, yeah. Like, you guys wanted the information about what was going to happen at Ubisoft, right? And like, I don't fucking care. Like, whatever. Don't send me review copies. It's not like you're going to anymore anyway. I just don't know. It just seems like these fucking tearful YouTube apologies where, it starts with the person and then they say, well, I guess
I got caught killing that guy.
I guess it's come to this. I've been thinking a lot about my life recently, and it's like, dude, you just fucking leaked like Assassin's Creed dates. Don't take this shit so seriously, man. Like,
part of it came down to the fact that like when he got caught, he knew some industry people who now just will not talk to him, and he's mad at himself because he's like, I've lost my way in. And no one is going to trust him again.
Yes!
As they should.
Yes!
Not trust him ever again.
Again.
Also, apparently he was just making shit up, too.
Oh, yeah, well, there was that, too, yeah.
He was just a terrible person.
Yeah. I mean, the whole, like, I got caught breaking NDAs, and now people in the industry won't talk to me. It's like, yes, it's one of those, well, if it isn't the consequences of my own fucking actions.
100%.
Like, you knew this. If you ever got caught, that was what was going to happen. It wasn't like, oh, no. I thought that if I got caught, everybody would be like, that lovable scamp.
Oh, that Dan, whatever the fuck his name was.
Oh, geez, Dan, we all know who you are. Oh, boy. Like, no.
Shucks.
Of course.
Just don't do it again. Here's the more NDA shit.
Of course.
It's like, no, they're not going to do that.
I still get press releases for stuff that tell me not to distribute it because when you sign up for E3, you get put on these mailing lists, and no matter how long it's been since you've been to E3, I'm still on those mailing lists, and I still keep getting the emails. I mean, there's nothing for me to break the NDA about because it's all garbage indie games that I don't care about. So,
which is nice.
Actually, it's funny because a long time ago, I did have some juicy next-gen hardware detail information. I won't say which next-gen because I've been through a few next-gens at this point. But the thing is that if I had leaked it, it would have immediately, the source would have been known immediately. Like, so, but yeah, this is a stupid story, but I was like,
100%.
It's a story.
He slammed the door on his foot.
Yeah.
And he's like, who did that?
Right.
And then just like, what the fuck, dude? Like, you did this to yourself.
It's like that internet meme of the guy riding the bike and then putting the stick in the spokes of his own bike.
I'm so sorry, guys.
Yeah.
It's like, no, you fucking idiot.
Also, just sack up and play some video games, man. It's fucking video games. Well, you know what? You don't need a leak to find out about the new GeForce cards because Nvidia had a whole big thing this week for the DLSS 3, the 4000 series of video cards, and a lot of craziness.
Yeah.
So they've been putting
very
out
strange stuff.
You should go over to the Nvidia YouTube channel because there's some really fascinating stuff here. I'll go through the basics real quick. They announced 3 new cards, the 4090 and the 4080. The 4090 will be like the big fucking hoopla, and the 4080 is going to come in a 16 gigabyte and a 12 gigabyte version. The 12 gigabyte version has like 1,500 or 2,000 fewer like transistors on it or whatever.
Sure,
it's like a downgrade. There's been a lot of like of grumbling because people are like, the 4080 12 gigabyte should be the 4070. Like that's what that should be. It shouldn't be. You shouldn't have two varieties of the same one.
Oh.
If it was just a RAM downgrade, that would be one thing. But if it has less overall processing power,
then they should have just named it.
Then
something
they should
else.
have put it into a different category. But maybe the biggest headline, maybe the first headline, Michael, is that. If you thought that the crypto mining days were going to be lowering the price of new video cards, you were fucking mistaken.
Oh, jeez.
The 4090 is going to be the Founders Edition 4090 is going to start at $1,600.
Oh, fuck you.
The 4080 16 gig will start at $1,200, and the 4080 12 gigabyte will start at $900. That, by the way, the $300 difference between the two of those should show you how much of a downgrade it is.
Yeah, holy
and how
shit.
it probably should be a 4070 card.
Yeah.
So let's talk about some interesting stuff. First off, these have DLSS 3, which is going to be a pretty big upgrade over DLSS 2. DLSS 3 is the deep learning super sampling that does the up resolutions, where you render a site lower resolution and then it up-reses it and it's faster. DLSS 3 will be specific to the 4000 series cards, will not be backwards compatible with 3000 series cards. Games will have to be very specifically programmed to take advantage of DLSS 3.
Huh.
There's also some new ray tracing bullshit. They showed off they had a few different videos. We're watching the one that's the Cyberpunk one. Cyberpunk is a really good, like, I think the game needs work as far as like how fun it is. It is gorgeous when you have a computer that can run it with everything jacked all the way up.
Oh yeah, visually it's always been really good to look at.
The reflections
When
of
it works,
the water
at
on
least.
the ground, neon everywhere. Apparently this DLSS, like they showed, like DLSS 3 ray tracing on, getting 90 frames per second on the 4000 series cards with RTX. That's pretty impressive. Let's see. We also found out that there was an interview with the CEO of Nvidia about that specifically touched on the prices.
So big.
His quote was, "Moore's law is dead." I don't know if you know Moore's law, where it's like
I forgot what it was.
doubling of density of transistors for like half the price or whatever. That whole thing is like, no, Moore's law is dead. And then also talked about how basically made a lot of justifications for why the jump. Because remember, let's all remember, it's barely been 2 years since the 3000 series launched.
It's true.
Like, that generation did not last very fucking
No,
long.
not at all.
And in fact, a lot of people are like, oh, see, what happened is they had to get this shit in development because Nvidia was making bank selling 3000s to crypto miners. And then when the bottom fell out of that market, those cards were not going to be able to, they were going to have a shitload of 3000 cards left over. The only way they were going to be able to get rid of them was going to be to sell them off cheap.
Yeah.
And so the only way to make like that real fucking premium high tier money would be with a new generation of cards.
Pretty much, yeah.
There was some stuff that I read where people were like, I can't fucking do this anymore. Like, I can't spend $2,000 every 2 years to keep up with, because, you know, the PC Master Race crowd, and they're just like, oh, you know, once you get a really good system going, and if you do with all the builds yourself, then it's like every few years you can spend $1,000 and you can get like a great upgrade that's going to last you for like 5 years. And this shit is like, not anymore, bitch.
No.
Like,
Yeah. Well, that was one of the issues I've always had when I've had so many friends be like, well, just make a gaming computer. I'm like, I don't want to deal with that shit.
Yep.
Because in the back of my mind, I want to have that thought process a lot of these people have. It's like, but there's already a better one.
right?
Like, so why don't I just do that? But it's just going to keep consistently cost me stupid amounts of money.
Yep.
Where the PS5 at the moment is the thing. But if there's another PS5 that happens that's slightly better, I'm not too worried about it.
Yeah.
Compared. But like, and even then, if I decided to, it still wouldn't cost me another $2,000.
Yep. Yeah, so we got some interesting videos about this. I tell you what, though, the one that Michael and I added at the last second was Nvidia
This
put
blew my
out.
fucking mind.
You should everybody should go watch this. It was on the Nvidia channel. It's called Easily Remaster Classic Games with Nvidia RTX Remix. They put out this new tool called RTX Remix that basically allows you to make the output of the game this tool as opposed to like the game, the output engine. And when you output the thing to this tool, it'll capture. You hit the capture button, it captures all of the textures, all of the 3D models, all the lighting sources, all of the geometry in the scene, and puts it into this this engine. And then you can go in and like replace models, lighting, textures. You can upsample textures. They said in here that their AI is so good that it can look at a texture and be like, oh, that's rock, and then add normal mapping to a white slab from Morrowind to make it look like granite by itself. It doesn't even need to be told to do that shit. Like go watch this 6-minute thing and you'll realize that like this represents a shift I've not ever seen before in the video game industry, which is that this new technology is not only going to make the games that come out later look good, but it is also going to make old games look good. Because right now, this shit all has to be done manually, but at the rate this shit is moving, Michael, I can see us coming to a point where this is done on the fly, where this tool runs on the fly to do these calculations on an old game. It's just like an overlay that you open up before you run the game through the RTX upsampler, and it just gives you a version. Like, is it as good as what you would get if you went in and tweaked it? No, but it's going to look a shitload better than what it's just going to look like by default.
Well, that's the thing is this reminds me of what probably the GTA guys thought they were doing,
right,
with the remaster trilogy.
Yes,
like just put it through this filter and it's going to make everything look good.
Right.
If this was the filter at the time, that probably would have worked out.
Probably would have looked good. Yeah, exactly.
But the issue is that the technology wasn't there yet. And I feel like if they did it again now, they might have a much closer product to what they were thinking than what they ended up doing.
The interesting thing is, I like the fact that this video was done with Morrowind, because I feel like people have been spending years or just like, we're going to remake Morrowind in the Skyrim engine, or we're going to remake Morrowind in the fucking, this engine or that engine. It's like, you don't have to anymore. Like, you just run it through this shit and then come out with a version of Morrowind that, like, looks amazing. And every day, like, if you can run this stuff, they show the tool running. Like, this looks... Michael, this looks fun to do. Like, this isn't learning how to code. This is just like going in and cleaning up the houses in Skyrim.
Oh, absolutely. This is small edits. Like, there's nothing, or there's some things here and there that I could see being a little more annoying, but that's only if you wanted to do that.
Right.
A lot of it just comes down to like, hey, how do you want this lighting to look?
Yeah.
I've done that shit with Spider-Man picture things in photo mode.
Or the idea,
it's crazy.
The idea that you can go in and you could take one of the 3D models that was captured from the game and then like plop it into Maya and then instantly publish it back into this tool to like render back into the scene.
Yeah.
Like, it's fucking nuts. What I'm seeing here, this is psychotic.
Oh, 100%.
Like,
if somebody gets a hold of this and decides, hey, I'm going to remake all of Witcher 1 and 2 with this, people would lose their shit right now.
I mean, anything. Think of any of your favorite games. Hitman Blood Money, right?
Yeah.
Like a fucking Peace Walker, or like Oblivion, for that matter. Like, the thing is that I saw so much over the Grand Theft Auto 6 leak, and like, this just came out today, the day that we're recording this, the 22nd. But I'd be willing to bet that there's not going to be 1 million people on gaming Twitter losing their minds over this. There should be. This shit represents like you know how everything gets better the further forward we go temporally in time, how you get like, better phones, better games, better like clothes or whatever. Well, this is like, what if there was a new thing that made it so that like your entire house was better, even though it was built in the 70s or whatever. I'm saying whatever a lot. I need to stop saying that. just the end product when you look at this scene from Morrowind is ridiculous.
Oh, 100. God damn. If
Like,
you guys watch this
ridiculous.
thing, it's night and day.
Yeah.
Night and fucking day.
Like, it looks like they take Morrowind, and Morrowind after this filter looks better than Skyrim, which was a generation past it.
Yeah. They make a lot of stuff just look fucking gorgeous.
It's Morrowind. It went Morrowind, Oblivion, Skyrim, Elder Scrolls Online. It looks better than Elder Scrolls Online. Like,
goddamn.
Like, it's like they took a game. Oh my god, yeah, it's incredible. You gotta go watch it. It's fucking incredible. It looks crazy. I feel like I might be overhyping it, but I don't think I am. I think if you look at this and you know what you're looking at, you'll just be like, oh my god, nothing will ever be the same again.
No, it's one of the most impressive things I've ever seen gaming development-wise in quite some time.
It's like all that shit that we saw of people taking like the backgrounds of Final Fantasy VII and then upresing them through those manual upres things, or like the guy that went through and cleaned up Super Mario Brothers like a frame at a time by running it through upsampling image software and stuff. And it's like that stuff is starting to jump like higher and higher. And it's interesting that this is shown off from Nvidia, because so much of what's going on here has more to do with AI tech and raw lighting engines than it does with like specific render settings. So
it's fascinating.
Go look at it.
It's everything. Everything's gonna look so good.
Yep.
Once people start figuring out how to use these things.
Can you imagine if you could take this and take Spider-Man 2, like PlayStation 2 Spider-Man 2, and then run through?
Somebody remake Spider-Man 2.
Make it look like the current Spider-Man.
Yeah, make it look like the way you thought that game looked like, instead of the really hard to look at game it is.
Oh my god, I just had I wonder I wonder if you could do it with an emulator, because I was thinking, like, you couldn't do this with Metal Gear Solid 1 because they literally had pixels for faces, and that's not going to do anything.
No, you could do it to the backgrounds maybe.
But you might be able to do it to Twin Snakes.
Oh, yeah, I guess that's true, yeah.
Even though I don't really like Twin Snakes.
I don't really like Twin Snakes either, to be honest.
But if you could make Twin Snakes look all super, super duper lighting. Hell, man, just go get Metal Gear Solid 2. I want to see fucking Raiden going around the big shell with, like, realistic lighting.
Yeah, realistic lighting on that ass when he's naked.
Well, hey, case in point, they put out a trailer for Portal. Did you see this? With
no, I did not.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't get a chance to.
Portal is getting a free RTX upgrade. And Michael, what do you think?
Jesus Christ!
This was done with that tool.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah, this was done with the tool that they showed off, and it's like, yep, here it is.
Holy shit! Look at that fucking thing.
Lighting and the textures and everything looks like fancy and new, shiny and chrome, baby.
Maybe I'd be sad to kill the companion cube this next time around.
Oh god, I think of you can see all the light coming out of the flames.
Yeah, I was never sad about the companion cube.
Look at that. Look at that. It's just like, because they have realistic lighting sources, suddenly the flat testing areas have just like areas where there's very specific amounts of like lighting, and it's reflecting off the walls and places like that.
This thing is beautiful. Holy shit.
Yeah. It's going to be a free update for if you own Portal on the PC, you can do it. I just hope that it worked with RTX 30 series cards, because that's what I got. And
that's true, yeah.
I don't have fucking $2,000 to spend on a video card.
All you gotta do is sell your kidneys, Jeff. No, you don't need those.
I need my kidneys. Actually, I really do need my kidneys. And last but not least, you obviously didn't get a chance to watch all these, Michael, but another one of the videos they put out was for Overwatch 2. I want you to tell the people at home what the frame rate is for Overwatch 2 here.
It's 400 plus.
400 frames per second? It's like 1440p with over 300 frames per second. I don't know that there are monitors that will do that. Like,
not a lot of them. They exist, but they're super fucking expensive.
Yeah, like, so they're showing it off. Obviously, it doesn't. I mean, I've got a 120 hertz monitor, but even YouTube doesn't even do 120 hertz. So, like, having this video on YouTube is like, it doesn't even make any sense. But the idea that you'd be playing Overwatch at 400 frames per second? Who needs that many frames?
It's overkill. Like, I've always had the issue when something's like, you could get this thing and have so many frames per second. I'm like, man, I don't give a fuck about your frames per second.
I will admit that having played some games at 120 frames per second, it is nice, but I care more about the whole lighting engine bullshit that I do about
I do
like
too.
this stuff. So
Like I remember when Spider-Man Remastered first came out, it used to only have the options for 60 frames or ray tracing.
yeah,
And I was more into the ray tracing part than I was the 60 frames part.
sure.
And then eventually they updated it to where it does both.
The hybrid
So,
version.
yeah.
Yeah. So I would be interested. I would be really interested, Michael, in seeing with my own eyes if I could tell the difference between 120 hertz and 400 hertz.
Yeah,
Like,
that's just so much overkill.
I just don't know. Like, I need somebody to tell me. I need a doctor. I need a doctor to tell me, can your eyes tell the difference between those two frame rates? Because there comes a point where, like, can your eye recognize 120 updates per second? And if the answer is yes, can it tell the difference between that and 400? What's the frame rate of reality? I need to know what the frame rate of life is before
It's probably not very high.
I'm impressed by this. It's like
It's probably 24.
There's a lot of drops. You know, it depends on whether you have RTX turned on.
Yeah, exactly.
So we're gonna take a break.
We all saw what the Hobbit looked like with RTX. That shit was terrible.
We're gonna take a break. We're gonna turn RTX off. We're gonna speed up in part 2. We're gonna optimize for frame rate in part 2. We'll see you in just a minute. We're back, and much in the style at the time, much in the fashion of RageSelect, we've got way too many stories left to go.
They're mostly onion related for some reason.
Lots of trailers. We got a new Overwatch. This is a direct segue from a previous Overwatch story. We got a new Overwatch character announced called Kiriko, who is kind of an assault healer.
No, her design at least was leaked.
Yeah.
Originally.
She did this whole motion comic backstory about how like grandma liked the healing and then mom was studying while you were too busy doing fox healing. Mom was studying the blade and
then you got your chocolate and my peanut butter and then I happened. What?
and then they were like, oh, do you want to be a healer or do you want to be assault? And I was like, I want to be both. And so yeah, it's like apparently the description was this is like a support character for people who want to play Genji.
That's pretty much that makes the most sense when you look at it.
This character can do the wall running like Genji, and they have like a primary throwing out those little papers and healing people, but then also some like little kunais and teleports and stuff like that. Kind of interesting character, not quite as like bombastic as some of the previous stuff. I don't know. I guess the thing is that like Overwatch already has its I feel like Overwatch has a lot of like ninja kind of style characters. I don't know.
I don't know if it has that many per se.
Yeah,
but because how many are there?
Let's see.
It's her, Genji now, or not Genji now. Her now, Genji.
And
then there's Hanzo. And I don't know.
Diva.
Is Diva? Oh,
well, okay,
Diva's a gamer.
Mech. Yeah, that's
she's
true.
a gaming mech.
Yeah, okay. Maybe I'm all messed up. I haven't played Overwatch in a long time. I realize that like when Overwatch 2 comes out, I'm going to have to play it a little bit before we record a video for it, because last time I played Overwatch 2, I was so bad at it.
Yeah.
Like I think I could be a little better than I was before.
Man, I wish I cared about Overwatch.
Yeah.
I stopped caring about Overwatch so long ago that I have no excitement whatsoever for
Also,
this game.
you and I just got done playing a Gundam game that was like fucking reminded me of why I liked Overwatch in the first place.
Yeah,
so.
it reminded me of the reason I first played Overwatch was that it was a casual fun time.
Yep.
Instead of an esports nightmare.
But yeah, I don't know. This character might be we might be getting different characters, because one of the other pieces of news last week was that the lead hero designer for Overwatch has left Blizzard. Jeff Goodman, one of the guys who what do they say? Tracer, Mercy, Diva, like these were all this guy.
Oh, this is all this guy?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
So
all the women are gonna look terrible now.
Yeah. So yeah, they're leaving. They're heading out. I don't know. I'm really I'm not going to go into the whole shtick because I've talked about it a lot. We've got a lot of stories left to go, but it's just like I'm really interested to see where Blizzard is in 5 years, because it seems like they're shedding like talent and people that made Blizzard what they are, and like as you just said, like I know that some people probably care about Overwatch 2, but I'm having a really hard time mustering up any. Or we saw Diablo 4 earlier, and it's just like, I mean, it's Diablo, like. You know,
well, they're having the same thing that happened to Ubisoft, which is that except they're not hemorrhaging them as fast as Ubisoft was.
Yeah, true.
But and I think that comes down to the fact that a lot of the people who were originally ousted were the actual fucking problem people,
right?
At one point, so some of these people seem to be like, well, I'm trying desperately to hang on, but it's just not working out for them.
Yeah. Eventually, they're just going to start they're just going to be absorbed. They're just going to get oozed into Activision, and they're going to have to start making Warzone maps.
Oh, God, yeah. That's going to be tricky.
Yep.
He's going to have to design Warzone Overwatch characters.
Let's see. Speaking of disappointments, we got a quote from the CEO of Embracer Group about the sales of Saints Row, of the new Saints Row that came out. I quite liked Saints Row. I mean, it was buggy and it crashed all the time, and I could see why people would. If people were upset by that sort of thing, I could see why you wouldn't like it. I have PS5. It loaded super fast whenever it crashed, which
is a great thing. Yeah, that helps a lot, actually.
But I liked it. But yeah, apparently talking to, or this is reported by GamesIndustry.biz, apparently the game sold 7.7 million units in European territories during the month of August, which is actually kind of interesting because it came out like later in August. So, but
honestly, 7 is pretty good still.
Yeah,
but they were definitely expecting more.
Yes. So yeah, the CEO. What is this guy's first name? His last name is Wingefors.
His name's Lars.
Lars Wingefors.
That sounds like a made-up Overwatch character, by the way. Introducing Lars Wingefor.
Yeah.
He's got wings and shit. And
he talked about, well, what I liked about this quote, right, was like, I think that the biggest terror that we all have about this Embracer Group, right, is that they're going to be just as cutthroat as everybody else. But the quote was like, he was like, well, obviously, like, you want every game to be super profitable, but, like, I realized it was kind of a big ask for this particular one, and we're hoping with some bug fixes and some DLC that we can get those numbers up a little bit. But
here's the other thing. I don't remember any advertising for its release.
That's true.
I didn't even know it was out until you're like, yeah, I'm recording, and or I'm trying to get so-and-so to do it, but I'm gonna probably record it with Amanda and John or whatever, and I'm just like, that game's coming out?
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like that's been happening a lot lately, where I'll see something that I'm like, we thought was interesting, and then we had no idea it came out finally.
Yeah.
Like Solstice.
Yeah.
Like, you had to remind me that Solstice was coming out.
Yep. I wouldn't know if I didn't have to keep track of all this shit. If I didn't have spreadsheets full of game release dates on them.
Exactly.
Like, I wouldn't know all this stuff.
I had no idea. There was no commercials that I saw. Although I have YouTube Premium now, so that might be part of it.
You know what? You know what? I can definitely see a thing where over the remainder of this year and maybe into next year, like there are a bunch of bug fixes for Saints Row, and then they put out some big DLC for it that like adds a little bit more insanity into it, and then like at the beginning of 2024, some famous YouTuber like starts playing it a lot, and then suddenly they see like a huge bump, like an Among Us situation.
That happens a lot more lately.
Yeah, where it's out for a little while, and then somebody's like, actually, this game is really good. And because some big-ass YouTuber said it, everybody's like, it is good. It's just going to happen to Solstice. They're going to be like, top 10 most underrated games of last year. Number 1, Solstice. And be like, not from me. I was on Front Street with that shit the entire time. I saw the first trailer. I was like, that looks cool. Saw more trailers. I was like, that looks cool. We played it. That was cool. Did you watch the video that we did?
No, I didn't get a chance to.
That shit is straight up Devil May Cry.
No, absolutely.
It's just fucking Devil May Cry.
Yeah, that was one of the reasons I wanted to try it. And then, but that happens a lot. Like, especially early on when YouTube Let's Plays were really starting.
Yeah.
The Super Best Friends are the reason anyone knew what Metal Wolf Chaos was for a while. Same with some specific fighting games got funded because of YouTubers like them.
Yeah.
Like the biggest example of that is Skullgirls. That's why in the original Skullgirls, when you play it, in the background is a lot of animated characters that are just those YouTubers because they helped them get funded.
Huh.
So
I know that like Rust had a big comeback a little while back. You know, again, Among Us was out for like a year and a half before it became a thing.
They were working on a sequel because they're like, I guess no one wants the first one. And then all anybody wanted was it. And they're like, well, I guess we have to make more for this instead of the sequel.
So, yeah.
So that ended up working in their favor.
I'm just really, 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 really hoping that like that Embracer Group ends up being like the only reasonable publisher in video games where they're just like, yeah, I mean, we got a little, you know, we made some money. It wasn't like, it wasn't over the moon, but it's not this fucking weeping and wailing and gnashing of hands bullshit that like Square or Electronic Arts does, where they're just like, it didn't sell every copy. It's a failure. Well,
what's interesting about the Embracer Group is we've heard nothing about them in general.
Yep.
They just sort of showed up, bought a bunch of shit, and then refused to elaborate, and then walked away.
Yep.
And you're like, what the fuck just happened?
I have no idea where they came from or no idea what the fuck they're doing.
Like, there's no statement in there that where the guy's worried about anything. He's just like, well, we'll see how it plays out later.
Yeah.
Like, he wasn't like, oh my God, guys, if we don't get more sales, we're fucked. Like, I've seen people react that way, but he's like, no, I guess, you know, who knows what will happen next time.
He literally was like, no, it's one of those harder games to get out there. So, you know.
And we still sold decently.
We'll see what happens in the November earnings call, et cetera, et cetera.
We just didn't make the amount we were hoping for.
Yeah.
The end.
Let's see. We got some more information. We did have some TGS stuff. We got a little presentation from the Resident Evil team about all the shit that's coming to Resident Evil.
Yes.
One of the big one that I kind of have here is that they talked a little bit more about the DLC, with what's her face, Rose, Ethan's daughter, and how apparently like she's going to be very fragile. I don't know if you watched this, but it was like, yeah, one hit might totally murder you, but then also you're going to have like superpowers. It's like, oh, so it's going to be when you played as Wesker's kid in RE6.
Although Wesker's kid was a crazy person. So,
that's true.
Well, his special ability was punch it in the face, which I used a lot.
Doing razzling moves on fucking zombos.
To the fact that my friend was not super happy that I did that as much as possible. We went through healighting so much. He's like, stop trying to punch them to death. I'm like, but I have to.
God, Matt and I, we started B-side of Resident Evil 2. And I was just like, here, Matt, play this on regular. And I didn't realize that, like, B-side ratchets up the difficulty. And then I handed the controller to Matt, who was like, okay, so which one? He doesn't even know what an Xbox controller, the button layout is for it. So, like, we did 30 minutes of Matt yelling and then started over on easy, where I took the controller away from him because it was just like, God damn.
Yeah, that game gets pretty crazy in the B-side.
So yeah, but then also one of the things that they announced was that this is going to be the end of the Ethan saga. The whole Winners family saga is going to be done. So
which makes sense, you know, especially with the way the game ends. I
was slightly not put off, but I was like, you guys really didn't expect Village to do as well as it did you?
I don't think they did.
Because they seem to be scrambling. Like, you know, they were like, we're adding third person, I guess, to the game. And it's like, really?
Which is weird that they didn't think that based on how great 7 did.
Yeah.
And 7 had a shit ton of DLC attached to it.
I wanted to see more of like the stuff that came out in 7. The fucking
those little short story things they did.
Yeah, the blackjack game, and then the big one where you played as fucking Hillbilly Joe with his electric gauntlets. That was great. Eating grubs in the swamp and going back to punch Jack one more time in the face.
It's pretty amazing.
But I mean, there's never been another DLC for, I feel like, outside of Wesker's kid in 6, there's never been another DLC. Another Resident Evil protagonist just like, yeah, I'm going to punch those zombies. I'm going to punch them real hard.
I love that. That's my favorite thing about that. But yeah, there's so the Ethan Winter story ending was very surprising. Like, I was expecting there to be maybe another game with him, but you know,
I thought we'd just see more DLC. I mean, even if it wasn't about Ethan, even if it was just like a Lady Dimitrescu origin story.
I would have been cool to see like a Chris Redfield one. Like, hey, what was the process of going in that happened on his side?
Well, that was like that was the Not a Hero, right? That was like the first DLC for RE7.
I would like something like that in this,
where you took out their Lucas, the
brother
who was still alive at the end, and you had to fight big monster Lucas. So, I don't know.
I would have loved to have seen like the final battle part from his perspective of showing up and like shooting all these monsters in the face.
In Village, you do play as Chris Redfield at the end.
Yeah, but I mean like from the from like every point kind of thing, like seeing him like a point where you can break into the house and then shoot. The well, I don't want to spoil the whole game, but like, you know what I'm talking about, like
the thing at the beginning,
the thing in the beginning of shooting that person, and then all the other stuff that's happening in between. Like, I would like to see more of what was going on Chris's side.
Yep,
that would have been kind of a fun idea.
There's a lot that could have done. There's a lot that could have done. I'm kind of surprised they didn't do more.
No,
so
that's why I'm more surprised by it.
Yep.
There's also the meme that will probably continue as time goes on.
Which one?
The Chris Redfield trying to continue the Redfield bloodline. If people know what I'm talking about, they know what I'm talking about.
Okay.
It's I'll explain it afterwards.
I don't know
it's a
what
weird
you're
fucking
about.
meme.
All right. From there, we had more Capcom news. We had some Street Fighter 6.
Yes.
This had happened right before we recorded last week, so we didn't get a chance to talk about it. We got. I didn't watch the full presentation. They showed the opening movie, which was interesting. Really bringing the street to Street Fighter.
It really does. It's a really strange one.
Yeah,
like it's not super bombastically fighting thing the way the Street Fighter 4 and 5's second intros were.
Yeah,
it's just kind of. It feels like an ad, to be honest.
Yeah, it really does. All this stuff about strength. What strength? Oh, I don't know. What is strength?
The fact that says "I hear you, man" in this weird fucking thing.
Yep,
it's fucking strange.
It was a little strange. But then we had a much bigger presentation that showed us some quote unquote, if you have been looking at leaks, new characters.
Yeah.
We found out why Ken looks like that.
Yes, we find the real reason why Ken looks like a crazy person.
Actually, we don't find that out in this trailer because I actually know why. It's like what the Mad Gear gang is like.
Yeah, he gets framed for a criminal thing. Like they're like, you did this, and he's like, no, I didn't. So he has to go on the run.
Yeah,
to prove his innocence. So now he's like a homeless guy.
It's like working at construction sites.
Yeah,
hooking up with Cody, going out, getting some brewskis with Cody.
Yeah, so he needs to prove his innocence. So it turns out he's not a divorced dad who's lost everything.
He's the fugitive.
Yeah, he's the fugitive.
Yeah, this
except
trailer,
his wife's not dead, I assume.
Well, that's true. This one showed off a little bit more of the like make your own character. I thought it was a little weird. One of the things that they showed was like going out into the world and then using Street Fighter attacks to like. I'm gonna yoga teleport over to this area. I'm gonna spinning bird kick between two buildings. I'm gonna Shoryuken a box on the street, and it was like, what?
A lot of games have done stuff like that.
Yeah.
I know the JoJo Eyes of Heaven has something like that. Yeah. It's like, hey, to get like open this specific thing, you got to switch to Jotaro because he does a thing that makes it easier, kind of thing. But and I think even the Mortal Kombat ones had something like that too, didn't it? I forgot the name of the mode, but the Conquest mode.
Oh,
I think some of those had those too.
Yeah,
but I'm not 100% certain.
I mean, don't get me wrong, man. I'm super excited because this looks like a whole shitload of single player content for Street Fighter.
It's more like the way they'd use them that makes it weird. Yeah, specifically the spinning bird kick one.
Yes,
like to get to one area or the other one, just helicopter your legs. It's like, wait, what?
Yeah, just turn upside down and defy gravity.
That's exactly how that works.
It looks like you're gonna be running around, buying like hats and outfits and training with all your favorite Street Fighters.
There's a lot of fucking detail to the character editor, by the way.
Yeah,
which is fucking crazy.
I didn't watch that part, but it also looks like you're just going to get into fights on the streets.
Yeah,
like a Street Fighter.
after learning specific moves from people and stuff, you can get into fights with people, and I think that's kind of fun. And there's some fun shit going on in it as well.
Also, it appears that like the like the versus is like in a big open PlayStation Home arena, where you can like wave at people, but then the two of you belly up to a Street Fighter cabinet, and then you can play Street Fighter versus each other.
Yeah, it's like one of those cabinets that it's there's only one place here in Austin that has them, where it's like it's a cabinet with one side and another side.
Yeah,
so that way the other guy can't see you doing your inputs.
Right,
and so. There's one here. It's at the Arcade UFO, which apparently is moving. So hopefully that will be pretty fucking. We'll be able to visit it more. But, I'm very, very excited.
So what do we see in this trailer? We saw Blanca and Dalsim and E Honda, in addition to Ken.
Yeah.
And
those are the
newer ones
characters that they showed off, which was really cool because we got to see some new moves from some of them. Specifically Blanca. He's got a Blanca-chan doll that he can now weaponize against people, which is a lot of fun. And Ken has these newer kicks that are really fucking cool.
He's got Blanca seemed like he had a lot of dialogue as well.
Yes,
which is a little weird.
Yeah, it turns out in Blanca's current life, he is a tour guide in South America.
Okay.
So that's why he's dressed the way he is.
In overalls?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then they showed off some of the wackier things.
Yeah, like this stage, like
I forgot the name of it.
Or something
Extra
like that.
battle or something like that.
Yeah,
where it's like they're battles that have Mortal Kombat's been doing this for a long time. Where it's a randomizer that will do things like one of the ones they showed off is a bull will just ran through the fucking stage
right
while you're in the middle of the fight, so you get hit by a bull if you're not paying attention. Or another one's like this electric rod things will pop down and electrocute you both at the same time.
Yeah,
stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty excited because like you said, the character creators used in a lot of different ways than just the main story. So
I don't know if you saw this, but it looks like they also have other games in here.
Yeah,
like they've got Final Fight. There's Captain Commando.
In there.
Like there's a bunch of other like arcade games in here,
which is fucking cool as hell.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks like they're trying to. I mean, I don't know if they needed to because, as I understand it, I don't think Street Fighter V was like a failure or anything. But it seems like they're really they're trying to get people like me back into Street Fighter.
Well, what they're doing is they're apologizing for how bare bones Street Fighter V was when it came out. When Street Fighter V came out, it had 3 things.
Yeah,
that was from single player. This very stupid story mode. I'm using quoting fingers with story mode. There was survival mode and online, and that was it.
Yeah.
There was jack shit else to do in that game. And so this game's like, we're going to put all of the fucking things in there so you don't say that shit again.
Yep.
And you know what? I'm fucking all for it.
Also,
because they could add so much more after this now.
Yeah. You can also beat up a car again, or a truck.
And I'm very excited about that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the whole package looks like good. It looks like something I want to play. So
it's the most excited I've been about, because I didn't think I was going to care about Street Fighter 6 after what happened to 5.
Yeah.
But man, they've done a really good job at making me excited again.
It also it's weird how for the first the first teaser and some of the early stuff, it was like they were really kind of playing their cards close to their vest, and they finally started showing the open world stuff a little bit more, which is cool because again, I like it when fighting games try to have a big story.
Yeah.
And
also, this game is gorgeous.
Yeah.
They use the RE engine that's used for 7 and 8, and also what was the other the remakes, and they've pushed it to its limits. And
Devil May Cry 5,
fucking amazing.
Yep. I don't know what crazy magic Capcom did to get that RE engine, but the fact that it was everything looks super realistic and it runs at 90 hertz.
Yeah, just fucking crazy.
That's perfect for Street Fighter. So, yeah, looks good. Good stuff. Fighting on streets. Let's see. From there, we got the news that, speaking of new games, we got the news that the studio that is making the Dead Space remake, Motive, is going to be making an Iron Man game.
Ooh.
This is EA, Marvel, and Motive, and it was a very, very, very small blurb. Nothing,
No.
Motive is still making that Dead Space thing is going to come first, but we just got a really brief kind of little teaser. Picture Iron Man, the Motive, Marvel, that kind of thing. Iron Man's a good person to make a video game out of.
Oh, 100%.
Lots of flying and blasting and blasting, flying and blasting.
Hopefully they make it a good one, because, the last 2 attempts at making an Iron Man game, they were based on the movie, of course, were mostly terrible.
I mean, I don't know. You can play Iron Man in the Avengers. That's just as good as playing a full-on Iron Man game, right?
Well, he's actually not bad in that game. That's the other thing. But the main issue is that, like, it's so funny to me that we're finally getting all these Marvel games way after the fact that these characters were, like, really big into the pop culture part of it.
It's weird because I feel like the MCU has cooled a bit, right?
It's completely cool.
And now is like when they finally got their shit together to be like, let's make some tie-in stuff. Whereas there was a point where, man, I could have seen, like, if they had a Guardians of the Galaxy game, like when the Guardians of the Galaxy movie came out, that it would have been like a big seller, you know?
Yeah. The current one could still probably get a good boost once the third one comes out.
Yeah, true.
But I don't see Iron Man getting a big boost because there's no more Iron Man movies.
That is also true. So,
very strange. A very strange thing to do. But I think it's because people don't want to make licensed games anymore for a long time, which is, you know, good and bad depending.
I get the feeling that Disney and Marvel, at a certain point after watching EA, after the contract with EA finished up, that they basically pulled a Games Workshop and they just threw the door open and they were like, do you have like $5 million? You can buy one of the licenses for one of these games and make one. I mean, look at the number of Star Wars games. I mean, Star Wars was what I was thinking of. I think it was after the...
Yeah, Star Wars is the one with the EA one.
The EA one, but after the stuff with Square Enix and they probably had some small deal with them going on for some exclusivity. But again, it's like EA fucked up Star Wars royally, and then Square Enix fucked up Avengers royally. How?
I still don't understand it. These things should be able to print money.
Yeah, so now they're just like, I don't know, whoever wants it, come on, let's do it. We'll figure out if they're good or not later.
I'm hopeful we'll get more, because right now I think we're in a great place Marvel game wise.
Yeah,
because we're gonna get Spider-Man 2, we're gonna get Wolverine. Now there's this Iron Man game. Midnight Suns is eventually gonna come out.
Yeah.
What was it? There was the Captain America Black Panther thing got announced.
Oh yes.
So, you know, who knows what else is on the horizon?
Yep. Just wish they would have shown some of that shit at D23.
Oh, that would have been great, but no, yes.
Marvel Snap. Like, I keep forgetting about Marvel Snap.
Yes, I could forget. Who could forget Marvel Snap?
I'm going to make you play Marvel Snap because I know you hate card games, but I know you like Marvel, and I just want to watch your feelings. Like, the scales of justice just go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth about, like, ooh, this looks cool. I might want to play it. Oh, yeah, it's a card game.
It's still a card game.
Oh, yeah, it's a card game.
It's Yu-Gi-Oh, but with Marvel.
Yeah. Don't you want to play Marvel Yu-Gi-Oh?
I didn't want to play normal Yu-Gi-Oh.
Don't you want to play normal Yu-Gi-Oh? Because I need somebody to play that shit on my channel.
As long as it's better than, what the fuck was that name? The name of the game? Arc something?
Oh.
Artifact.
Artifact. Was that it?
Yeah. That was that one made by Valve.
The Valve one, yeah.
And then that got used to stream porn because no one was using it.
Yep.
That was a fun time.
Stream that pornography. We got a big trailer this week for the PSVR 2. This is about as interesting as the trailer showing me Overwatch running in 600 frames per second on my 120 hertz monitor. I mean, here's a trailer for VR. You could do anything. That's
true.
You know,
they kind of just make shit up as it goes. The thing is, a lot of these VR ones are looking more like the quests to do. Yeah, which is not a bad thing because those things run really well. But hopefully these games that they've shown off will live up to what's needed.
Oh no, you know what this is? I remember when we had there was a trailer for some bullshit game and they were showing off. They were like, it's got the adaptive triggers, and then they would just show the Sony adaptive trigger stuff, and it was like it's got the HD rumble, and they would just show Sony's stock footage of their HD rumble. And
I don't remember what it was, but it was a game that wasn't all that impressive to look at to begin with.
Yeah. I actually watched some videos of some people who got flown out to try out the PSVR 2, and it seems like the PSVR 2 is a real big jump, double the resolution, way more field of vision. It's got that foveated rendering where it follows where your eye is going, and then it only renders where you're looking, so it doesn't have to do as much. It also has the adaptive triggers and the haptic feedback in the controls. It also has a haptic buzzer on the headset itself that will buzz your buzz your head. It's got the same pass-through that the Quest has. It's got the same room setup that the Quest has. Like, it looks like it's a next-gen VR headset. I'm really glad that VR hasn't burned out.
I'm super glad about that because we were very worried about that because it felt like it was going to be a gimmick that people would have just given up on.
Yeah.
And it almost did very early on, I feel like.
Yep.
Very, very early on. And then one day I think the Quest really started taking off because the price wasn't so bad.
I still have my my DK2 somewhere around here.
Oh, really? Yeah, because one of the reasons it almost died right away was because the original releases were like $1,000 plus.
Yeah.
And no one I knew had that kind of money to spend on a VR headset.
Yep.
No matter how amazingly cool that could be.
Well, and then also you had to have a fucking good computer for it.
Well, yeah,
like that's the thing about the PSVR, right?
And you also had to have like this big fucking wire on your back, basically at all times. Like there used to be battery packs that you had to wear some of these to do anything.
The guy that I watched that was doing the thing said that the PSVR 2 runs on a single USB-C cable that plugs into the front PS5C port. So it's not wireless, but it is basically the smallest amount of wire that you can. One small wire.
Yeah, well, it is
no
running
breakout
off,
box.
It is running off of the console too.
Yeah,
that's the other thing. Because the thing about a lot of the wireless ones is they have a lot of stuff in them, but they're not stupid powerful.
Right.
But they're still like a pretty good like the Quest 2 runs Resident Evil 4 VR.
Yeah.
Without being plugged into anything.
Yeah.
But if you wanted to play Half-Life. What is it, Alex?
Yeah.
You have to be connected to something because it needs to run off of that.
Absolutely.
So that's really the only not downside, but it's the only thing that makes sense as to why it would need to be connected.
We did though get some interesting information about the PSVR 2, and that is that PSVR 1 games are not going to run on the PSVR 2.
That is interesting, but it makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Because the technology is so radically different in it that I don't see a way of making it completely compatible with the old one.
Yeah. Well, you saw that the thing is that developers can create PSVR 2 versions because it's been confirmed that No Man's Sky, which is already a PSVR title, is going to be on PSVR 2, but it's not just going to load up your old library and make it look all super awesome. Yeah. They got to run it through the fucking RTX filter first.
There's a possibility these things will hopefully get people will make things like, for instance, like the Super Hot.
Yeah.
Like I'm sure the Super Hot VR guys would be fine with it.
Yeah.
But I feel like not everybody's going to go out of their way for it.
Get the ability to sell that shit all over again.
Yeah, dude.
People that got that shit for Christmas.
It'd be a great idea. Plus, they already have a lot of the VR stuff that it does. The new version of it does. I feel like the Quests already have some in some ways, like the way the controllers work, for instance.
Yeah.
So you could probably just sort of make some tweaks here and there, and it, like mostly for the visual stuff, and it probably would work out fine.
Probably so. Actually, I mean, they already did that with the Galaxy's Edge thing. That was a Quest thing, and now it looks like way better on the PSVR.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, you could get a lot of those Quest ones on there. Like, I feel like you might be able to you could probably get Resident Evil 4 VR on there without any issues because of the way that works.
I know that RE Village is going to be on there because that was one of the demos they were showing.
Yeah, which would be pretty cool.
In other Sony hardware news, we got a report that there might be a new PS5 version coming that has a detachable optical drive,
which is fascinating.
That the optical drive will plug in via USB to the back. I thought that at first when I heard that, but then when I read the story, it made perfect sense to me. It was like, no, see, the way that it's going to work is that there will be one SKU for the console, which is the console. And then if you need an optical drive, you can buy that, which will account for the extra cost, but just as a modular component as opposed to, do you need it built in? I'll be honest, man. I think I put 2 discs in my PS5 the entire year change I've had it. Like,
I have a bunch of discs, but that's because I buy a lot of physicals.
You Luddite.
but the thing is, like, you don't really. I wouldn't need to if I was fine with just digital. Yeah. Because I have a 2 terabyte hard drive in it now, or an SSD in it. So I easily could maybe do something like that. But I had old habits and stuff. So, like, for instance, I ordered the Ghostbusters ones physically, even though I easily could order it digitally for cheaper. I even did the same thing with the JoJo game. The JoJo fighting game was cheaper digitally, but I still went out of my way to buy a physical version of it. So this would be great for both people, because one of the things about the disk drive that a lot of people forget nowadays is they don't actually run off the disks anymore.
Yeah, you just put it in and validate and then download.
You put it in, it gets some data from the disk.
Yeah.
And then that's it. It runs everything off of it. Yeah, it runs everything off of the drives themselves nowadays. In fact, that's been a thing for a very long time. So it's the reason the upgrades can work to begin with, because like, why else would it work that way?
Well, I tell you what, Michael, you say you like physical discs. You put physical discs for your PS5, right? I've got a physical disc that you can get for your PS5 for free.
Oh God!
Do you want to know what it is?
I know what it is.
It is Babylon's Fall, maybe.
The reason I know this is because I shared it on the Discord.
Oh, yeah. Apparently, Babylon's Fall, since they're turning off the servers less than a year after that fucking piece of shit came out.
Yep.
Apparently, GameStops have the physical disc for Babylon's Fall as like tagged for destruction.
Yep.
So like it's possible you might be able to walk into a GameStop, buy something, and be like, "Hey, have you guys destroyed all your Babylon's Fall? Can I just have the ones that you are, you're going to destroy? Do you have to put them in the wood chipper? Can you just give them to me?" I actually think it's kind of bullshit that they're even destroying them, because like, I don't want to get all Indiana Jones and shit, but that shit belongs in a put them in a storage unit somewhere. Like, you don't have to destroy them. It's like,
well, the issue is that like they know the game's gonna stop working in February, and then people could buy a protection thing on it and have to come back and be like, this doesn't work anymore. They're like, well, shit, like, I don't know what to tell you.
I'm sure the GameStop's got the fine print in there that says that, like, if the fucking server shut down, then you're not getting
they just don't want to deal with it. But one of the things is, it's not even just GameStop. I'm pretty sure they were probably told by the company itself, though, to pulp them. So.
I am firmly against any time that I hate that waste. There's
I do too.
Plenty of like where they'll have like a newer version of a book that'll come out, and they'll like literally tear the covers off and like destroy the old versions of the book when it's like that was a perfectly good book, like or the way that I really disagree with this. I don't think I've ever discussed this. I would never do it, but the idea that grocery stores put locks on their dumpsters to keep people from dumpster diving for stuff that's like slightly marred, slightly out of the expiration date, when it's like perfectly functional food that people could be eating.
Well, I told you that was part of my job at Target, was doing, not that specifically, but it was throwing away them. But we didn't throw them in a dumpster. There was a compactor that was connected to the inside of the place.
Yeah,
that you just open the door and just throw shit in there. And that was one of my duties. Was they're like, hey, go through these things, find out what's expired. Or at least based on like because the SKUs would like tell you when they got there, kind of thing.
Right.
And they'd be like, hey, this one says that it's probably most likely expired. Find this real quick. It's only been or this one's about to. And just throw it in the compactor, turn it on, and then you're done.
I hate that shit.
Yeah, that was part of my job. It was
so
very
wasteful.
Weird.
I really hate it. Like
I hated it too.
Ooh, I do not like it. So yeah, you heard me, GameStop people. Save a bunch of your copies. Actually, I think they should, because I'm pretty sure that like that game did not sell very well. It was not printed enough, and they're destroying copies of it. I'd be willing to bet you that in 10 years, like a disc of that's going to go on eBay for like fucking $600,000 or something.
Oh, it easily
because there's like 8 left in the world.
Because it's a game that's literally being destroyed right now.
Yep.
And if either you had a copy of it and kept it, or you don't.
Yep.
Especially a new one. I bet you a new one will be like 20 years from now. It's going to be worth a lot.
Probably so. Let's see. In Xbox news, this is really cool, I think. On the PC, Xbox has integrated the game time estimates from how long to beat into the app.
Ooh.
Now, the way they've done it to me is a little stupid, but I like it, but I think they need to do more. So if you open up the Xbox app on the PC and you say, click on, here's Slime Rancher 2, just came out today in early access, you'll notice that there's nothing here. There's no information that says, how long does Slime Rancher 2 take to beat?
No.
But if you have already installed a game, when you click on it, the first thing that comes up is a big bar that shows you the estimated times. I personally think it is more important to know how long a game might take to beat when you're deciding what to install, as opposed to after you've installed it.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Like, I wish they would put that shit a little bit more on Front Street. I like the fact that it's in here. Like, it looks really good on here. Guys, just like put it on the pass. Like when you open it up, there's plenty of room down here to like put a bar on the top or put it like right down here or like below.
Make a section in the store for it.
Yep.
Be like, hey, 20 hours, 8 hours.
Oh yeah, sort by completion times.
That'd be fucking great.
Yeah, that'd be great. As people have less and less time. Yeah. So
who would have expected Hello Kitty Island Adventure to take so long, though? No one expected that.
Let's see. Another super long game news. This should be pretty obvious to anybody. I feel like this kept making headlines, and it was like, yeah, duh. But fucking Cyberpunk 2077 is huge right now on Steam because of the anime show.
Which makes sense. You even said that you felt like going back at one point. You almost got tricked.
The interesting thing is that like their concurrent player count peaked on September 16th, reaching 37,000, and then after the Edgerunners came out, it hit 85,000 and change. Like,
that's impressive.
Yeah, which just goes to show, I think, that like if you guys had made your shit look really cool, we all would have liked to have played it.
Well, this is a great example of what we were talking about with that Marvel thing. Or like if these movies were coming out at the same time, people would be more inclined to want to play these games.
Yep.
So I feel like that might happen to Guardians once Guardians 3 comes out.
Yep, mayhaps. Oh, by the way, I didn't mention it. That Iron Man game is being written by the guy that wrote the Guardians game.
Really?
Which I thought was good because I like the writing of the Guardians game quite a bit. Idea. So, but yep, if you want to play Cyberpunk, I say, hold off because they literally said in their presentation that they're working on like the melee gameplay loop to make it more fun. They are working on the cyberware quick hacks to make them more effective. Like, they're working on core-based gameplay stuff, and you don't want to play a giant multi-hour RPG over and over and over again unless it is Elden Ring. Why aren't you playing Elden Ring, Michael? Also, everybody else watching this, listening to this.
I knew I forgot something.
Experiencing this. Cleaning up your apartment. Come on, I need to talk to somebody about the Magma Manor.
Well, I've been to the Magma Manor. Yes, I think I was. I don't remember which manor that was.
There's only one. Let's see. And then last but not least in the news section, Twitch is updating its gambling policy. This is a whole thing. There's a whole gambling Twitch controversy thing going on right now.
A bunch of streamers went into like a protest about it.
Yeah.
Which was what caused this to happen to begin with.
Yeah. So they're banning slots, roulette, and dice games from the platform, but you can still do, I believe, fantasy sports betting in general, as well as one other category. Sports betting, fantasy sports, and poker will still be allowed on Twitch.
That makes some sense. I
don't know that I really think that this was necessary. I mean,
they were just worried that like kids would end up accessing some of these gambling things.
Yeah, I don't think kids should be watching Twitch.
They shouldn't be. Well, that's the thing, is they really shouldn't be, but that's not the thing though. The issue is that it just comes down to a lot of that. It was already supposed to be prohibited to begin with.
Yeah.
On some of their stuff. So they're just doubling down on some of their prohibits.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I guess fine, whatever.
It was still kind of weird to begin with that people were that up in arms about it.
Yeah.
But I don't know, because there's so many things on Twitch that people probably should be more annoyed by.
That's kind of where I am. Yeah. I feel like there's more to be done with Twitch than this.
Although I don't know if you have that news story that happened recently about their payout thing.
No, I don't think I did.
So Twitch,
oh yeah, they're
changing their payout.
Yeah,
it was 70-30 before,
right?
And now it's going to be 50-50.
Okay,
a lot of people were pissed off about it, as of course, because one of their justifications in their FAQ.
Oh, so that you're getting 50 instead of 70.
Yeah,
you were getting 70, now you're getting 50.
Yeah, one of their justifications on their FAQ, because they had an FAQ for it, was like, this shows that we're in it together. It's like, that doesn't make any fucking sense.
No, it doesn't.
The other explanation was that it's due to higher costs of keeping everything running.
No, fuck that bullshit.
Which again,
nope, that's bullshit.
Bullshit.
That's bullshit.
It's them trying to. It's them clearly wanting more money. So a bunch.
You're
of
owned by Amazon.
Yeah.
Amazon owns AWS. AWS runs the fucking internet.
Exactly.
Call up, Bezos
Your own
and
fucking company.
Yeah.
And so there a lot of people were very pissed off about it.
Also, I know this isn't fair, Michael, but if you are even tangentially related to Jeffrey Bezos and you ask me to shoulder more of the financial burden, you can eat shit forever.
Yeah.
Like there is no amount of shit that you cannot eat from me.
So the trickle down economics is happening right now. So yeah, so it's been a bit of clusterfuck. Some people are wanting to maybe go to YouTube now.
Sure.
YouTube's percentages are higher.
Yeah.
The issue is that YouTube does not advertise their gaming side very well.
That's true.
It makes it harder to find things.
Even their live stream, they're too busy trying to fuck with shorts right now.
Yes, yes, they are. So if they could somehow mimic some of the way you can find stuff on Twitch, they'd be probably get to dominate Twitch, but I don't think they're going to.
Surprise! Twitch is worse. I feel like it's just every month and a half we have a story. Surprise! Twitch is worse.
Yeah.
Surprise! Twitch is even worse now.
My favorite thing is that pricing thing, or not pricing, the payout thing happened a few hours after this.
Oh.
So a bunch of people were like, yeah, Twitch, you did the thing. And then literally 3 hours, they're like, we're also doing this, by the way. And they're like, fuck.
Yeah. Oh, boy. All right. Let's see how many trailers we can get through. Hey, Michael, I might actually buy a FIFA game.
I've seen people say that because of this reason.
Because this is the stupidest reason in the world to buy a FIFA game. They're putting Ted Lasso and the whole crew, Roy Kent and Jamie Tart and all the rest of them into FIFA.
Yep.
Weird. Uncanny Valley
Jason Sudeikis
EA Sports Jason Sudeikis is fucking in FIFA. What?
Honestly, I think it's the coolest thing FIFA has ever done.
Yeah.
Which is saying something, because FIFA hasn't done anything, or not FIFA, but EA hasn't done anything interesting with FIFA since they made FIFA.
Danny Rojas is in there. Coach, the other one, Coach Beard is in there.
Yeah.
I think
I've never seen people so excited to play FIFA in my life, because the comments are full of people being like, I wasn't gonna buy FIFA, but I'm gonna buy FIFA now.
I don't know,
because of Ted Lasso. I'm like, that's a weird fucking thing to happen.
I feel like I want to ask Grant if he'll go 50-50 with me, and then we could just play FIFA and talk about how awesome we think Ted Lasso is for 40 minutes, and then that's the whole video.
You might as well, yeah, go for it. Just talk about Ted Lasso and using him on the career mode. Apparently,
I don't want to spend $60 on FIFA. I don't know though. I'm kind of into soccer now. Whatever. But yeah, they also apparently a lot of people over the years have modded in the same thing, the stadium
really?
and the players and stuff. And so I'm sure that they looked at that. And they were like, there's a breakout thing with soccer that's happened.
Yeah.
Why don't we put it in why don't we take 10 minutes and put it in our fucking soccer game? And then people like Jeff will be like, I kind of want to play that because Jason Sudeikis is in it. Because my fucking chuckle-headed brain is like,
so weird.
You know that guy.
They've tricked us they've tricked us before that way in games.
Yeah.
They're like, hey, you could be so and so. It's like, I want to be so and so.
I kind of want to do that.
I kind of want to do that. I forgot what the last game that did that to me was, but I remember being super excited at the time.
I think we almost played House Flipper because of the Dragon Ball expansion.
That's what it was. We almost did it, but we couldn't find a time.
Yeah,
because among everything you'd already been doing, so we're like, we don't need this.
Did you ever do the review for the hero?
I never did.
Oh, man.
No one else could see it except for me. We watched it 3-4 times over.
We got to do it.
I watched it a lot.
We got to talk off mic about that. Yeah. So. We also got a cinematic trailer for season 4. Chapter 3, season 4 of Fortnite.
Yeah.
I love looking at the story bullshit for Fortnite because none of it makes any sense to me. It's like it's like watching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. season 5 episode 14 or something.
Yeah, I didn't really know these things even connected.
Yeah,
I think it's interesting that they connect, but I had no idea they connected.
And not just that, but it's fucking Brie Larson is in here now for some reason.
She's a character, I guess.
There's a bunch of silver goo that's taking over the Fortnite island, and then Brie Larson is a Fortnite agent. She's like, not on my watch, and then she flies away. and then eventually the goop becomes like a sexy lady goop, and it's like, what is happening? Last time I saw this shit, there was like some big supervillain guy with a cape, and then he took his helmet off, and it was The Rock, and I was like, what is happening?
I forgot that was a thing. The last one I remember watching vividly was like an alien invasion.
Yeah.
And then that's when Rick shows up.
Right.
And then Superman's also there to help. And that was the last thing I remember watching.
Oh my god.
And that was like years ago.
Yeah. Apparently I saw a headline. I don't really know if it's the case, but I saw a headline that like with this new liquid metal thing, that like one of the mechanics is that you can put this liquid metal out and then characters can dive into the liquid metal and come out of it, and they're like, okay, so now it's just Splatoon. Now Fortnite is also just Splatoon.
Yeah.
Like,
it just became Splatoon. Also,
yeah.
Spider-Gwen's there.
Yep. For some reason. I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah, not really an explanation for that one.
Fucking whatever.
Even though they gave explanations for Rick and Superman.
I feel like Fortnite is like the one game in the world that it's like the most popular game in the world. All your favorite characters, deep and interesting lore, totally awesome like graphics, runs really good on the PlayStation. Now do you want to play it? And I'm like, never. I never want to play it. It's still a fucking still a battle royale game. Like, if they put all that shit in the base building Fortnite, I'd be all over it.
Oh, 100%.
I'd be all over it. Like, just build the Dragon Ball house, and there's like new like Dragon Ball characters that are coming at your house. I think
that's the funniest thing that happened to Fortnite for me was that the Dragon Ball thing happened. I downloaded Fortnite, bought Goku, and then uninstalled it.
Yep. That's how I feel.
Just because I was like, you know what? If somehow, for some reason in the future, I decide to play Fortnite, at least I will be Goku.
Yep. Goku with a machine gun. I feel like there's nothing that could put there to be like, here's Solaire from Dark Souls. And I'd be like, I'm still not playing it.
Yeah.
It's still Solaire with a machine gun playing fucking Battle Royale against 12-year-olds, and I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, because
like,
I missed Spider-Man and the Superman thing. So at this point, I was like, I got to get one of them. I got to get one of my boys. So, yeah.
Speaking of things that I wasn't interested in, but I'm getting a little bit more interested in, we got a full story trailer for Exo Primal last week.
Did you make heads or tails of this?
No, but I was more interested in this than I was in the gameplay demo where they just ran from place to place and then did little mini objectives, because this was like, here's a bunch of characters, they're saying like Metal Gear shit to each other, and I'm like, oh, mech saying Metal Gear shit, and also there's dinosaurs. Kind of interested.
Yeah, the story trailer makes things a little more interesting, but it's just very strange.
Yeah, it's like fucking weird guys teleporting onto. There's like the mad AI and people with guns, and I don't know. Like,
also, I'm trying to figure out if people are Russian or not Russian. I don't know. Everyone has accents are throwing me off.
I don't know. They seem like they're in a little bit of a hurry. So I mean, they're trying some of those mech. No, I don't know, man. It's still just like, if it's like, my worry is that it has a bullshit story, but then when you're playing the game, you're just playing the watered down online version where you have to get your team to go to this area and hold out for 60 seconds. You get over here and kill X number of dinosaurs. Look, a boss popped up on this side and you've got to do it. Where it's like all online generated challenges as opposed to bespoke, like, dinosaur killing that feels cool to do.
Well, it could be more like the EDF, where it's just that, but that's just how EDF was to begin with, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it doesn't look psychotic enough to be EDF.
That's true. It's close.
I say as we pause on like just hundreds of dinosaurs raining down off the top of like a building.
Yeah, it's just raptors upon raptors falling out of the sky.
They would die. They would die when they hit the ground. I don't know. I mean, I'm still gonna play it because this is RageSelect.
That's true.
Matt is gonna come over here. We're gonna play it. So
he's probably gonna show up with his own copy of it.
Yep. We got 8 minutes of Scorn. This comes out like at the end of October. I don't know if you watched this, but I think this made it very, very clear that this is Myst, not like Call of Duty.
What's a puzzle game?
Yeah, that there's some, like they said before, there's some gunplay, but it's not like the focus. Like the focus is kind of finding the keys and solving the puzzles and getting the doors open.
Yeah, I'm expecting a lot of disappointed people playing this thing.
People who want Call of Duty but geared
because they probably saw only the trailers with guns in it.
Yeah.
And then they're going to be like, what is this? I haven't shot anybody for like 3 hours.
Yep.
Kind of things. Well, it's because it's a puzzle game.
Yeah.
Like you're more finding out story as it progresses than anything else.
It looks really nice though. Like they really did capture the whole weird biomechanical Giger stuff really well.
Yeah, it looks really fucking cool still. Like that's the thing I will constantly give it praise for.
Yeah.
It's like it is unsettling.
Grotesque and disturbing. But yeah, it was actually interesting because they do some judicious cuts to cut over like the full answer to some of the puzzles and what happens when you do them,
which is a good move on their part.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll see what happens. We had some weird stuff from TGS. We got this: the bird that drinks tears. Visual concept trailer. This is not an actual game. This is like a CG like concept trailer.
Yeah.
Real weird and cool looking.
Yeah.
Like
It looks really cool.
it reminds me of a little bit of like Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice.
I could see that.
Or that it also reminds me a little bit of that medieval game that the Warframe guys are doing, their next game.
Oh, yeah.
A little bit the kind of strangeness because it's like this guy cuts off the head of this lady that it's got like cat eyes and scales and stuff, and then it like the head doesn't appear to be dead, and then it kind of all goes backwards, showing like the guy that cut off the head was like walking through this whole field of people whose heads he probably all chopped off. All very detailed, really nicely detailed.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Very interesting. This is like not even the beginning of a game yet. This is mostly just to try to drum up interest in the team that wants to make this game.
Yeah, and I'm curious as to what it would be.
Yeah.
100%.
Me too. So I would like to see more. I'd like to see more for certain.
I also want to see more birds drinking people's tears.
That's like a Korean novel or something. Like
Yeah, but you should at least show one bird eating somebody's tears, is all I'm saying.
it's a metaphor, Michael.
Yeah, but I want to see the bird. That's all I'm saying. Just one bird.
We got some interesting horror games. We got a teaser trailer for something called Unholy. This is from TGS. It's like a very, I don't know, I feel like this looks interesting, but I feel like I've seen this trailer a bunch of times before. Like weird gothic imagery, strange looking characters.
People really want to make weird gothy shit lately, which is fascinating. I don't know where that came from, but I'm cool with it.
Bunch of monsters and stuff. I was actually way more interested in the Dark World Karma, where it's like this weird kind of Eastern European dystopian thing, and then like there's all this weird imagery of people with TV heads. And it's very weird looking. Like
it's strange. Like I don't really know what else to say about it.
Also, that's just the Red Room from Twin Peaks.
Oh, it absolutely is.
It's just the Red Room from Twin Peaks, like the zigzag floor and the red curtains. But there's like these mannequins and all these weird TVs and like this kind of like Portal-esque bureaucracy kind of stuff, but then horrifying, and like at the end is it VR, and I don't know, but I'm interested. Like
I don't know what's going on in it still.
Yeah,
like, because you watch it and you're just like, what the fuck is happening?
Yeah,
at all times.
Yes,
because not everybody has TV heads, but some people have TV heads. But some areas are like kind of remind me of areas in Control.
Sure,
some don't. So like there was that one weird fucking straight up the Red Room.
Yeah, there's kind of there's some like brutalist stuff like you mentioned in Control.
It's like, are you a guy with a TV head? Because no one seems to be freaking out about you.
There's
kind of
some
thing.
Art Deco kind of looking offices and stuff. There's some just like monsters. Whole thing also looks really nice though. So
it does. It looks really nice, and I'm can't wait to see more of whatever the fuck this thing is supposed to be.
Yes, I agree. I thought it was interesting that we got this trailer for The Store Is Closed.
I do love this one, actually.
Which is basically like you're in an IKEA that turns out to be an Infinity IKEA, and it's you can't get out, and like all the employees are like monsters and stuff. I don't know if you know this, Michael, but this is an SCP.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's a full SCP article. Oh, well. It says it's listed under Game Choice as SCP Secret Laboratory, but
That's probably an accident.
I don't know if this is actually based on the full on SCP, but I remember reading it a little while back. But like, yeah, it was a whole like the SCP, like all the stuff from it was an article of like people that had left these like diaries that have been trapped in this IKEA. That if they somehow like turned a quarter and then they go into the infinite IKEA, they can never get out again. They have to like fight off the mannequins that come to life and the people with the shirts and stuff.
Is that why people kept staying in IKEAs?
I don't know.
That was the thing for a while.
Yeah, I remember that.
That was a whole new story.
And so, yeah, this looks like it could be fun. There's some weird spookiness. I don't like how everything is laid out very, like a lot of the furniture is laid out very, like, boringly.
Yeah, that's my only issue I have with it, but that's probably because they don't want to get sued.
Yeah. I do like the fact that there appears to be chainsaws and flamethrowers and giant managers that fucking bust in with their weird heads. So
I do love the idea of this insane shit.
Yeah.
Because IKEAs in general have always been kind of funny to me. I always remember that episode of 30 Rock. Like, the way to test your relationship is to go to an IKEA together.
Oh, yeah. Where Liz and what's-his-face go to IKEA.
Shit's crazy. I love that episode.
Did the thing get kickstarted? It was on Kickstarter, it said, but like...
Yeah, I feel like it must have been funded at this point.
Okay. We don't have time for that. Let's see. Speaking of weird places, we got a gameplay trailer for House Flipper 2.
I love the intro because it makes it seem like it's going to be this really cool fucking thing.
Yeah.
And it's just House Flipper.
Yep. It looks kind of like a higher fidelity, more interesting version of the first House Flipper.
Yeah.
But, you know, this week, Michael, Electrician Simulator came onto Steam where you can wire up fucking fuses and shit. So,
man, this is a crazy fucking thing about the way the state of games has been very funny to me.
Yeah.
Because we get so many of these simulators, but I have no issues with any of it.
You have no issues with any of it?
Yeah, because you remember before we used to just harp on, you know, like truck simulator.
Oh, yeah,
or
Euro Truck Simulator. Yeah.
But people have been making actual really interesting simulators.
I mean,
that are much more than just like mow the lawn or go on a cross-country trip.
Dude, Power Wash Simulator is one of the, like, I've finished like 4 games this year. One of them was Power Wash Simulator.
That thing took the internet by storm, which no one expected.
It's great.
At least of all us when we first played it.
It's great.
Because holy shit.
Yep. Yeah, looks good. Let's see. We got a reminder that WrestleQuest is still coming.
Yeah.
Kind of a combat trailer showing off some of the WrestleQuest stuff. You've got my money, WrestleQuest. Just let me know where I can go to pick up my copy.
That's fascinating, this whole thing. But, you know, I'm sure many people were excited about this game.
Yep. Let's see. Michael, we're skipping forward. We're skipping Trombone Champ. We're not skipping Turnip Boy robs the bank.
We can't skip Turnip Boy robs the bank.
Turnip Boy robs the bank is like, it looks like the sequel to Turnip Boy commits tax evasion. This one appears to be like a big, more action-oriented kind of twin-stick shooter. It's got all your crazy favorite characters from Turnip Boy commits tax evasion.
My favorite thing is that this halfway point, it's right in this point of the trailer where the guy just goes, "Was that a turnip?"
Yeah. Yeah, it's fucking crazy. It looks a lot like Gungeon. Looks like Enter the Gungeon.
Enter the Gungeon, except you're robbing banks.
Yep, except you're a turnip. Tessa and I played Turnip Boy Commits Tax Evasion. It was delightful. I will definitely play anything else that they come up with.
I'm pretty, I'm excited to see how this plays out.
Yep. Let's see. All right, now we're skipping over. Michael, you want to talk about Dragon Ball Z Kakarot?
Yes, I do.
Alone Against Fate.
So I was surprised by this because I had no idea this was going to happen. So it turns out they're going to make a second season pass to Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. And so far, it seems to be mostly based on the TV special of Bardock, Father of Goku is the name of it.
Okay.
Where it was about Goku's dad, Bardock, who is a regular Saiyan who just likes to murder things.
Okay.
Because that's the fun fact that's the funny thing about Bardock is that because Goku's like, I'm the protector of everything, where Bardock's like, I want to murder everything on this planet and then sell this planet for money. And so they decided to make an entire DLC based on that. So I'm really excited because there's never really been a game that had full cutscene stuff that involved this outside of just like the final battle part of it.
Okay.
So I'm curious as to what they'll end up doing for the point before you become psychic, and then see if they end up using some of that stuff even in weirder ways too. So I'm very excited for this, and we don't really know if the rest of the season pass is just going to be the rest of maybe the special, or maybe we'll get an even different story. Who knows?
I have a question, Michael.
What's up?
In this cutscene where this turtle and an elf are talking about Goku, does the do the creators of the series think that we're stupid idiots? Is my question.
What do you mean?
Because these guys are wearing like robes or lab coats, but they have to put the stupid Saiyan armor over the top of it to make sure that you know that they're fucking whatevers.
Yeah, they're part of the Frieza Force.
Sure.
That's a Frieza Force outfit.
Right. But that
That's
doesn't
all it
match what
is.
they're wearing. They're just like scientists in a lab.
Yeah, that's
and they've
just
got
how-
this dumb battle armor just shoved over the top of their lab coats or whatever.
Frieza loves to know that people work for him. That's what it comes down to.
Okay.
Yeah, all the scientists wear that.
It's a silly thing.
Oh, it's silly as
It's
hell.
a silly thing.
Yeah, this was based on a TV special, so this wasn't even like something that happened in the manga originally.
Okay.
Like this is an actual this was literally like one of the first non-canon things people attached themselves to.
Did they put a release date on this?
I forgot if they did. It's next year.
Yeah.
I think is what it said.
Some point.
Yeah, coming 2023.
Okay.
It shows off 3 things: Bardock alone against Fate, but we don't know what the other 2 things are. And also, apparently, there will be a PS5 version of Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, as well as a Series X version of Kakarot.
Okay.
So, as far as we know, the upgrade might be free, but no one said anything, so we're not really sure yet.
Been a name because you're pretty good about that sort of thing.
So I'm pretty excited because it gives me an excuse to probably replay it on. Because I don't remember if I had the 4K TV yet when I first got it.
Yeah.
So, and I have a PS5 now, so maybe it'll look even better.
So I haven't given any shit this week because I'm knee deep in Metal Gear Solid 5 for some reason. So I don't have any room to talk this week. I was playing Soul Hackers 2, and then I was like, well, I wonder if Metal Gear Solid 5 holds up. And then I started playing it. I was like, oh shit, it does. Fuck.
It's so good.
Fuck. One Piece got this is a great trailer. I kind of wish this was the first trailer for this. Explained the story, explained that the island that they're on and how they all show up there, and then this lady like takes all their powers away, and then they get rescued by a guy that explains about their powers, and she's like, no, you can't have your powers because pirates killed my dad, and like all this stuff. And I was like, oh, okay, oh, that's cool. I'm a fan. Or not a fan of One Piece, but like that makes sense.
Yeah.
Right?
There's
Like-
a story that like you can, because it's an original story. It's
Right.
not like part of the actual main
Also,
thing.
I think I might give this one a serious shot, like a try to play it as
Really?
opposed to just play it and then go away. Well, because the thing is that I'm kind of interested in One Piece, but I don't want to invest in the bullshit. But like, if
You don't
this
have
is,
time for 1,000 episodes, Jeff?
if this is a one-off story, actually, you know what? I started watching it because I will plow through anime. The problem is that the first season looks like asshole garbage.
Oh,
It gives my
yeah.
eyeballs cancer and makes me weep blood whenever I try to watch
You're
it.
so used to new anime, Jeff.
Fuck yeah, I
a
am. I
crazy
don't want to
person.
watch trash. It looks like trash. Like the story may be good. It looks like trash. But this is like a one-off. They're doing abilities, power resets.
Yeah.
Like it's got a one-off story that you don't have to know fucking 800 issues of manga to understand. Maybe I'll give this one a shot and see. Like, and then if this gets me interested, maybe I'll be willing to go back and put some gauze on my cheeks and let my eyes bleed for fucking 400 episodes or however long it takes for the animation to not look like fucking dick. Yeah.
My favorite thing about this is that there's like, maybe these pirates are not evil pirates. I'm like, well, the pirates are supposed to be crazy people, but I don't know.
Yeah.
That's always the weird thing about when you make pirates the main focus of something is that you have to make them not be terrible people.
That's true. There's swashbuckling adventures on the high seas. Also, just like straight up a Death Star in that room. Just straight up like a...
I love that picture of Luffy just fucking crazy looking, and then it zooms out on his eye.
Yeah.
It's like, that man is an insane person.
Yep. Also, we got a release date. So, January 13th, worldwide. Boom. We also got the announcement and release date of a Suikoden 1, Suikoden 2 remake.
Really?
Yeah, remake, re-release. Not full remake, like remaster. So they're up-resing a lot of the assets, and they're redoing some of the assets. You can see that, like, looks like a sharp pixel JRPG. Looks like they've redone the backgrounds to look real nice. And yeah, it's going to be Suikoden 1, Suikoden 2. And
what I like is that the backgrounds aren't overly redone.
Yes.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of these remakes that we see where they're like, everything is super fucking realistic in the background.
Right.
But our sprites are still kind of Super Nintendo-y. It's like, well, what the fuck, guys?
Well, I think they might have learned something from that. Was it not Fire Emblem? It's Tactics Ogre, where they ran so much smoothing over the characters that they've like fucked them up, kind of.
Yeah.
So
I forgot about that. Yeah, this actually looks like it's got a nice balance between the two, where the backgrounds are nice, but they still match their character models don't look out of place.
And did you notice the corporate logo in the upper right hand corner of this?
I did. Which is fucking weird.
Konami keeps putting out. They put out that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles thing, and you bought it.
I did.
A lot of people bought it.
Well, it's because there are a lot of games. In that instance, there are a lot of games that you can't buy anymore because of licensing issues.
Yeah,
this is a normal thing, so this is as surprising. But I'd be more surprised if we got more licensed games that were attached to some of these companies.
It's almost like Konami has the license for a whole bunch of games that people want to play, but like a bunch of dick faces, they refuse to make them or even put out the old ones.
It's true.
And then when they put out the old ones, they sell really well, and everybody's just like, "Could you just hire somebody to make a new Castlevania game, please?" It doesn't even have to be a 3D one. It could be a 2D one.
I'd be cool with that.
Like, you could get Way Forward. Way Forward could make a hell of a Castlevania game, my dudes. Like, come on. Ooh, makes me so mad I start to stutter.
That's the thing, is Konami just has to give people licenses. They don't even have to make anything.
Yeah.
They could just give them the license. He's like, you guys find a publisher, I don't give a fuck. Just give us the money. We don't give a fuck.
You know what you could do? You could give Blue Point. You could like hire Blue Point and be like, remake Metal Gear Solid 1 like you did with Demon Souls. Like, just remake from the ground up. Here's all the assets. And like, you'd make $1 jillion. You'd make a kajillion dollars.
Man, speaking of that fucking Inside Gamer guy, that fucking dude, that was one of the rumors that he made up.
Oh, was the remake?
The Metal Gear remake, and what was the other one? Silent Hill remake.
Oh.
He's the one who made that shit up.
Piece of shit.
Yeah. Terrible person.
Yep. Anyway, Suikoden 1-2, 2023. Last in the trailer parade, we got more than a teaser. We got a full-on trailer for that Netflix Sonic.
Yeah, Sonic the Hedgehog is popular again outside of games.
Yep.
So Netflix was like, we'll make a television show.
Don't worry, Michael. Soon Sonic Frontiers will come out and Sonic will become less popular again.
He'll be back on top, Jeff.
He'll be back where he belongs.
People will love Sonic games again.
Yeah, sure.
I can't even say that with a straight face.
Apparently, the whole thing here is that there's some kind of like reality break, and Sonic has to go to different realities to join together the realities or whatever.
Is that what the plot is? I just saw the trailer and I didn't know what the fuck plot was.
Yeah, I read the article that talked about it.
It is funny to see that they're still using Shadow the Hedgehog in normal ways instead of being the edgy weirdo.
I would rather this and the movies than the games, because this looks like it would be fun.
I would too, to be honest, because Sonic the Hedgehog is a great idea for a television show.
Sure.
More so than a game, because it's harder to make somebody who's super fast like that much more fun in a game, especially the fact that they've failed at it so many times.
Too true.
That I feel like it would be a lot easier to just keep making things like this instead.
Yep. Well, that's coming out sometime this winter. So
because even the last cartoon they did really well, even though people hated their designs in it still did really well.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. I'm more interested. I didn't actually know this was a thing until today. They're putting out a high resolution remaster of Rise of the Triad.
Seriously?
Yes.
I had no idea about this.
Night Dive and New Blood, the makers of Dusk and all those games, have teamed up to put out Rise of the Triad, which is a horrible, stupid knockoff Doom clone made by Apogee. That
so
was
weird.
Freeware, and it was goofy and stupid, and I kind of love it.
Yeah, this was that time frame where you could get a lot of weird shit like this.
Yep. Well, no, everybody had Doom Mania, so you just had to make a first-person shooter.
Yeah.
And it didn't matter like whether it was good or not. You just had to make one.
As long as it kind of reminded you of Doom, people were on board.
Well, this one was also like, It was like weird Nazis, weird traps, weird stuff.
It's a strange game.
Did you remember there was a reboot of this?
I forgot about that until this exact moment.
Yep. 2013 reboot. You can change the music out. You can get some remastered content that was taken from some of the cut content that they made. Yeah, and a level editor is included as well. Coming out next year.
That's kind of amazing, though. I'm sure people will have a lot of fun with this.
Fucking Triad. Like, it's...
I like that it's called the Ludicrous Edition.
Well, what the phrase Gibbs comes from Rise of the Triad.
That's right.
Is that it would say Ludicrous Gibbs, and that was like where that came from originally.
I completely forgot about that. Yeah. Rise of the Triad. That's a game. That's a name I haven't heard in a long time.
So weird. Yeah. Yes. We found out that Resident Evil 4 will, this is part of that previous Resident Evil announcement, but I didn't mention it until now. Resident Evil 4 is going to be launching on the PS4, as well as the PS5, Xbox Series X, Series S, and PC. So far, no confirmation about whether the Xbox One will also be included. I think most people thought that because of the remake and everything, that we weren't going to see it on previous gen consoles. But
well, I remember the I don't remember if it was this TGS one or before that, where they announced that, hey, we were going to put it on some past stuff.
Yeah,
but they never said which ones. So if this is if TGS finally confirmed which ones, it's interesting to me. But it makes some sense that they haven't announced an Xbox One.
Yeah,
because Japan loves Sony stuff. Mm-hmm. They don't give a shit about Xbox stuff, so it would make sense that that's the thing they would focus on more.
True,
because to them outside, no one has an Xbox.
Yeah, but Capcom has to know that that they are going to be sacrificing some amount of revenue by not putting it on there.
Yeah, but I think it's because the Series X is easier to find, so they're probably not as worried.
Maybe.
Or the Series S too. Series S is also easy to find.
Well, speaking of PlayStation, we also found out that Hollow Knight Silksong will be coming to PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5.
Oh, that's interesting.
Previously, it was confirmed for Xbox, PC, Switch. Part of Game Pass had not been confirmed to be on PlayStation, but we recently got no release date, but still confirmation it'll be on the PlayStation platforms.
Nice.
So, let's see. Like a Dragon, Ishin, the medieval Yakuza, well, I guess they're now all called Like a Dragon. Game will not have any English vocal tracks.
I'm cool with that, considering.
Yep.
Especially it's the time frame that it's doing, as well as its setting.
Yes.
I'd be more weirded out if they did have one, to be honest.
Part of it says that the dialogue is like used as what the way that people talked during the Bakumatsu era, and they said, we're not dubbing voiceovers, we're translating the game into English, but specialized vocabulary and the way people talked during the Bakumatsu era would make the lines incredibly long, so it just wouldn't work. So this time we're doing subtitles. So I think it's literally just like the dialect of Japanese would not translate into anything that didn't require huge run-on sentences to describe.
I'm cool with that, though. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And it's easier. I'm also good with the fact because it makes it a lot easier for games to be ported here.
Yeah,
that's one of the reasons we started getting anime games again as often as we did, is because they gave up on dubbing them. Mm-hmm. They're just like, well, they were like, oh, people will just buy it no matter what. Like that's what happened with the JoJo fighting game.
Yeah,
for PS3, people were worried that they wouldn't come here. It's like, oh, you guys will have to dub it. And then it came out, and they're like, "Oh, we don't have to do any of that stuff."
Yep.
Same with like the Dragon Ball ones are one of the few ones that still desperately get dubs because people in America are very specific about their voices.
Right.
When it comes to Dragon Ball, at least, but when it comes to like some of the other characters, like, well, I don't fucking care.
Yeah, there was some story that I ran across where they're changing one of the English voice actors for Mob Psycho 100. Season 3, I believe.
Really?
And there was some kind of... It was that or something else. It was one of the English voice actors for one of the things, and there was like some kind of kerfuffle online about it, and I was like, I don't care. I fucking watch subs, man.
Yeah. It's weird.
So.
Yeah, people are really very insane about, like, that's why when Vic, I can never say the guy's last name, the original Brawley voice actor,
yeah, when
he got ousted, people were very upset about it, even though the reasons he got ousted were very valid reasons when it happened. So they're like, well, maybe none of that stuff's true because we want him to still be Brawley. It's like, guys, just fucking calm down. It's just some guy. They'll just recast them and they'll move on.
And last but not least, Michael, what would a RageSelect podcast be without a new Spider-Man mod? this week we've got the first-person Spider-Man mod for Marvel Spider-Man. Are you ready to buy a PC yet?
No. Maybe. I don't know. There's a lot of really cool mods that have come out for this series.
Yeah.
Or for this specific game that's just really cool. And this first-person mod is really cool, but also very disorienting.
Yeah.
But, that's more because it's not designed for that.
Right. It makes me think that, like, all it made me think of was... Because remember we had that one story where the guy took the screenshots?
Yeah.
That was kind of interesting. But all it made me think of was that, like, early on in Spider-Man's career when he was first doing the thing, he had to be, like, really holding his head still. Like, no flips, none of that stuff. Just, like, very much looking straight forward, just trying to be like, whoa, okay, I got
Just trying not to vomit from jumping kind of thing.
It's interesting, though, that something that was at one time kind of just a potential... just a fun little like exercise is now just like, yeah, if you want to play the game in this nauseating fashion, you go right for it, my friend.
God, just looking at it fucks with me. But it's like, it looks really cool. Like, but yeah, I would never be able to play the game this way.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of fighting that just would not work for this.
Yeah, he does like spin kicks. Your whole head has to flip around.
Well, there's a spin kick thing, yeah, like you said, but there's also like, the warning stuff.
Oh my God,
like,
I gotta like not look at that.
Like, how would you know a guy's like gonna shoot you behind you? Like, you don't have I don't even know if you could see the spider sense warning on your head. Like, how would that work?
I don't know.
It would be a pain, is all I'm saying. But I get why people would like to play something like that, but fuck me if you could make that work.
Yeah.
Like, it'd be cool if you could make a VR game designed around it, maybe, in a way that would make it easier to, look at.
Well, they had that one PSVR game, right?
They did, yeah, exactly. It has to be designed for it,
right?
It can't just be this game like it's like if you did Arkham Knight that way,
right?
Like it would, or any of the Arkham games. It's like it would be fucking weird.
You can imagine flipping and flipping and flipping and flipping.
It would
and the amount
fuck with you.
of flipping upside down that Batman does, it would be yikes.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's it. This podcast. We did a lot this week.
A lot.
We did a lot last week, but we're still not even like that far over time. So, but we are going to wrap it up here because the coffee is worn off and I'm sleepy. So, Michael, tell the fine people of the internet where they can find you.
You can find me on oneofus.net. We do a lot of movie, television reviews. I have a review out for What We Do in the Shadows Season 4, as well as Confess Fletch.
Mm-hmm.
I did mention Clerks 3. There is a small review for Clerks 3 done by some other people on there that's only like 20 minutes because they didn't want to spoil anything.
Oh, okay. All right.
And I barely missed a review for that. I was in the middle of a work meeting when Chris was like, who wants to review this? And I was off by like 3 minutes. Or else I would have saw it earlier.
Yeah.
Because they sent out a screener for it to them, so they saw it like a week before it was released in some theaters.
Interesting.
It was part of a Fandango thing. Because when I went to watch it, there was right immediately after the movie, there was a like behind the scenes thing about it.
Mm-hmm.
That was like another like 30, 40 minutes, which was pretty cool.
Interesting.
But I think it's on digital now is what I want to say. But I don't know. I still highly recommend that movie if anybody wants. If anybody was a fan of that universe, I highly recommend it.
It's on digital. I'm gonna take a crack at it at some point over the weekend. But I watched 3,000 Years of Longing last week.
Oh, you did?
Have a chance to bring it up because it's at a time. I don't know. Maybe I'll talk about it next time. You'll have to call up Idris Elba Genie and make a wish on Tilda Swinton to find out what I think about that movie. But not now because I'm very, very sleepy. I'm very sleepy, and yeah, I'm going to sleep. Get out. Bye.